Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Greetings to all of my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are a Gentile covered under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. Being covered under the blood gives you access to the house. Hallelujah. So, welcome this morning. This is our Friday. Our Friday morning is dedicated to our Quest to Unite Africa discussions. And so, when I bring the folks on in here, bringing on Brother Mike and Brother Oral, and then any folks that would like to be on the panel, I want to really pick up where we left off last Friday, because a lot of things are very pertinent in terms of what we're seeing, and that is with the launch of FedNow. And what does FedNow do? You get presented with a nice narrative of this is where the banking does this and does that, and the transactions go from this to that, and it's instantaneous. But then we really have to pick apart the functionality of what it will be used for, because oftentimes they like to, we want to advertise, hey, this is a great system. Your accounts, it's instantaneous. But what's going on that end? What is that supercomputer doing to continue to literally oppress, for lack of better words? It's just now the oppression will be an AI generated semi sentient model. I'm still trying to figure that out. So we'll get into that discussion, family. And so right now, I'm going to bring on Brother Oral, and I'm waiting on Brother Michael to make it into the studio. But here we go. Shalom, Brother Oral.
Shalom, Brother Karis. How's the family out there doing? Shalom to you all.
So, Brother Oral, for Quest to Unite Africa Friday, the discussion there, I just wanted to preface, our discussion that, look, what does FedNow do to us? And as we have been growing along since April, we have had numerous issues.
Yes, we have.
And so, with these issues, we are constantly investigating what's happening, why is it happening. We have to call these companies, we have to call these banks, and find out why these transactions aren't making it into to where it needs to go. And so I want people to realize this, especially as when we say, yeah, we need your help, we need your support. Remember, every day that this FedNow goes, the help and the support is going to be not just monitored, but they will try to delay as much as possible because this is the introduction to the social credit system. Make no mistake about it. And so if we are going to be highly criticized in terms of what we're doing, this is why we have to ensure in the organization, and this is what we talk about every day. How do we ensure visibility for this nonprofit? Because it's real easy to accuse, as we had a couple weeks ago, it's real easy to be accused, but then you don't see the financials. And we make it a point to share that. We make it a point to display that. But we also have to be cognizant and wise that we're still less than 180 days from this being established. And so that's why we ask for patience because we're just getting things established. And we're not, if we came through, you could tell when you're doing something from grassroots as opposed to when you already have had a substantial donation because chances are there's probably a well established organizational component for the purpose of when these organizations, such as as this one, come into play, come into existence, and then they can get off and running as, the countermeasures. Who are you? Where did you come from? It's this, it's that. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And make no mistake about it, family. That is on the horizon. And that's why, look, I'm happy to partner up with Quest to Unite Africa because really this grew from out of our platforms. This grew from out of our channels. And we want this to continue to grow. We want this to continue to make leaps and bounds. Because as much as we wish something to go away, well, just wishing for things to not happen doesn't mean it won't happen. We're just preparing for ourselves. We're preparing. And preparation is that key. Brother Or, would you like to add anything else?
What I was thinking is this, whether you like it, whether you accept it, whether you don't accept it, the truth is coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. And just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, you may not accept it, but whether you accept it or not, hey, this is coming. It is coming. The social credit system is upon us, and you know what? The only way we survive this is, as Brother Yakoba says, through the Most High, because it's not coming; it's here.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Just as Brother Or had said, it is here. It's just going to be what will those impacts look like to us when it's fully, operational, when it's fully in our faces, and we have to be able to react to what is happening.
It,
Because, I'm going to say this: with what they have in line, we're still trying to fully assess what that does for banking and being able to send funds downrange.
It's so
We're
funny that you mentioned that because it's like I myself is completely separate from Question United Africa, and sometimes funds are sent to me by in some crazy error. It's a totally different number from my phone number, a totally different email address from my personal email address, and yet still somehow by error I get it, and then people are having issues when they're trying to send funds. It just it's purpose error. These are things that are purposely done. And you try, I tell you another thing, brothers and sisters, try buying a car online and you'll see. It's like now they want your, not only they want your ID, they want like almost like a facial recognition type thing that they now have. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of like slowly being implemented into our society.
Yep. Yeah, the system of control. So
Exactly.
so now we're starting to see how this is formulating, which also means, you know, how much longer then do we have? And I would say, do we have until something calamitous happens? Because you don't have a system of control without a let's just let's just say it, without a conflict.
Yeah.
Look at the Gold Standard Act of 1934
Yeah. Yeah. 33, 34. Yeah.
and look at what happened. How did they implement that? Well,
The
it was
banking holiday.
well, yeah, that and then the full implementation was really after what? World War II.
Yep.
And then they finally went, all in instead of having a gold standard. Then they went to an oil-based standard, and that was during the Vietnam War.
Hmm.
And now you can clearly see and tell they're trying to get off of oil because now oil has become something that is chaotic. And now, I saw something interesting that, it was a highlight that RFK Jr. wants to do FedNow based on the dollar, which it all said sounds fair and dandy, but it's like I want to back a fiat currency with another fiat currency. It's like I don't think people understand that does not make sense.
But think about this though. We've been living with a dollar bill all these years, so they figure if they get away with a dollar and a bill, how could it be a dollar and at the same time be a bill? It's paying at the same time, saying that it's a debt. But we've been living it for so many years, and we've gotten away with it. So they figure, hey, let's just try to continue the confusion and the illusion.
Continue the game, right?
Yep.
Continue the game until when? Until people find out and they start complaining about the game. And
Yeah.
then the game is up, right? The gig is
The
up.
gig is up.
All right. Brother Michael, shalom.
How you doing, brother? Shalom.
Brother Michael, this is now
Shalom.
Q2UA Friday. Go ahead, Brother Mike. Let your thoughts and your concerns and let it all be known, Brother Mike.
Now you know good and well you lying to me. You know good and well. Mike. Nah, right now I'm still trying to get up, bro.
Yes.
I seen your text and I'm like, 10 minutes. Okay. Now, who else is on there? Because I can't see it because it's the Quest Unite Africa is blocking other person.
Oh yeah, that's Brother Fast Nickel.
What's up, brother Fast Knuckle?
Shalom.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom, brother Fast Nickel.
Yeah. But
You know, it's
now,
funny. I woke up and I got my text that you were live, Brother Karras. And then when you said, I'm going to talk about our discussion from last week, FedNow, my eyes perked up.
you
Yeah,
know, yeah, I'm getting perked up too. Who told Garth about the grunt? Harris.
man. You going to you do any meeting? You can come on into a Q2A meeting. Matter of fact, you listen to any live now. All of a sudden, his grunts are gonna be reduced. Listen. Don't let them mess you up because of the grunts. That's the trademark right
Yeah,
there.
man. You and Sister Shaw been talking personal business. But other than that, man, it's all good. Still, what's this, man? Just trying to get things up and running, bro. We're trying to put things together, and you know how they go. It's gonna be an uphill battle, and that's man. Well, we used to that. You know, we gotta climb mountains and hills and go through valleys and all that stuff just to get things somewhat completed, but not done. But and that's the way the world got us. We're set up until Yah changes things and move things around. And I was, because we was talking about sorcery yesterday. Sister, what's her name? What's this sister's name, man? Deborah Yah, is that it?
Yeah, I think Deborah. Yeah, yeah.
Deborah, yeah, you're right. She had a thing on, and she was talking about sorcery, but she was showing this picture of this skinny black guy with locks, and but it was this man. How was she? She was shaped like a troll, a little. I mean, she looked like Shrek in the female version. She need to be green, and she was talking about sorcery because she was like, "This is sorcery." And I know what she was saying to a degree, but I don't know if you all seen that. But she was really truly saying that how, from a scriptural standpoint, under the law, we were only allowed to marry Israelite women, and she was a Gentile in Africa, walking down the streets, and everybody looking at them. And when I say she was wide, bro, she looked like what is it, SpongeBob SquarePants? I kid you not.
Man,
And I mean, she looked just like SpongeBob. I was like, whoa, good. And she was talking about sorcery. I said, gotta be sorcery. The brother is thin, tall, and everything. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? But it also made me think about what's that movie? Get Out.
hmm
And I
Oh,
was
wow.
like, good gracious. I mean, is it that strong? And
well, well, they've done that to us for what? For
yeah.
500-600 years, right? We've been a captive audience here for 400 years. And so it is that strong because why? We've had a generational reinforcement. Nobody was talking about this until what? A couple of years ago, for the most part, because we didn't know.
That's the compounding interest factor. It's compounded over what you said, 600 years of compounding interest on top of interest on top of. So it's kind of scary when you think about it. So it's really really hard. It's kind of like it's like going, the deeper you go in the ocean, the more pressure
You
you
know, on
have coming
Wednesday,
on all sides.
Big Red and I were just discussing how one of the problems is most people.
Oh, we
Well,
lost Brother Fast Nickel.
yeah, he went off, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Can
went.
you guys hear me?
No, not
No,
just the fast nigga. We was listening to him, and he went off for some reason.
I was talking and I don't know if you guys was hearing me.
Yeah, we heard you, and then you stopped dead.
Okay.
The fast nigga started talking.
No, I was still talking, so that's why I thought maybe you guys couldn't hear me or something.
No, I got kicked out.
Mm.
We must didn't like what we said about that sorcery. Mm. It's all
That
they telling the
that
truth.
that new sorcery is called AI. That new sorcery is called Chat GPT.
You're right about that, brother. You're so right about that, especially with banking and you're putting in things and things are like messing up. You remember when we were trying to buy our tickets, all kinds of for shinkery and all kinds of craziness was going on. You put the credit card number in and it kicks out all kinds of craziness. So yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, because I mean, I was looking at when I was seeing when I was looking at this, looking at her post. I mean, I hope y'all don't look at me in a funny way when I say this, but for the brothers and sisters that seen that post that Sister Deborah Yah put, I'm just like, whew, this woman look a hot mess with her clothes on. I'm saying to myself now, I'm like, what is this brother seeing that we're not seeing? Not saying that I'm trying, because I don't want to see it. But just with her clothes on,
But what are you saying though? I didn't see it, so I don't understand the context of what you're talking about.
well, you got to see this here, because there's a thin brother with a Gentile walking down the streets in Africa holding her hand. That's like his wife. And um, she looked like Shrek, but in a SpongeBob shape.
Well,
And
I'm
You
not
know,
going to comment. I'm not going to comment too much on air about this, but it's funny you mentioning that, but I'm not going to talk about this on the air. I'll talk about this behind closed doors with you, Mike.
but it's sorcery. It got to be. It got. Am I going too deep into something? Y'all told me open
well,
up.
but and that's where you have to understand now. Think about that. That's one of the types of sorcery because if you didn't understand, right, when you're dealing with fiat currencies and fiat currency, that is a sorcery. And we use that sorcery every day,
Yes, we do.
right? What is this paper? This paper represents what?
A debt, and at the
Yeah.
same time, is paying a debt.
But really, does that paper hold any value? Does that paper at the end of
No,
the
it
day
doesn't.
hold any weight? It absolutely does not. But what was done was there is an assignment to spiritually and physically manipulate the masses. That's something that doesn't necessarily have an attainable or a physical value. If it doesn't look, it can't pass through the fire and then retain its value. It'll go through the fire and guess what? It will burn up.
Disintegrate.
Exactly. You have gold, you have silver, you have other precious metals that go through fire, and guess what? They stay the same shape. They still have the same consistency. There is a value to that. And what we've learned was what is valuable and what isn't. And that's what you're seeing right now. Now they're trying to assign a different value that isn't necessarily valuable because why? You're only as good as your electrical source. If you don't have electricity, then you're done. And now they just had what last yesterday they declared a an emergency for the power grid because it was taking on too much power as hundreds of millions of folks were in an excessive or extreme heat warning throughout the United States.
Well, some brother Karis, to be honest with you, I'm surprised the grid hasn't gone down yet. In all honesty, I'm surprised that we haven't had like systematic brownouts or just blackouts. I'm really surprised about that.
Well, I'm
Gotta
gonna
wait for
say,
the winter time for all that. They know when to do it.
yeah.
Summertime, nah.
Well, I would say this: they probably already have brownouts, right? So um, they're probably like load shedding in certain areas that are not as highly concentrated, right? Because And they do this for a reason. If they do brownouts in black areas, I'm gonna tell you, there'll be more vocalization about it, right? They do it in their areas. They really won't say much. Okay, it needs to be done, and yada yada yada. We complain. We complain. We have a voice, and that voice garners more attention. And so, if it garners more attention, oh wow, they really are doing that. Oh, is it coming next? That gets people scared.
It's a
That's
Mm.
good point.
Well, on Wednesday, the point I was trying to make before is that on Wednesday, Big Red and I were talking about the fact that most people don't understand money because it's no longer taught, and
hmm
people don't take the initiative to learn about it. And so that's why they're able to do what they do to you, because people don't even understand what's being done to them. And when I got into crypto, one of the reasons why I got into it is because some cryptos are there's limits in terms of limit in how many there are. So when people would say to me, "Well, it's fake money, it's not backed by nothing," and I would say, "Well, the U.S. dollars, the U.S. dollar, and all fiat currencies are not backed by anything either."
hmm
But people will say, "Well, the U.S. dollar is backed by its military," and I understand that, but
Brother
Oh,
Nip,
look.
You
Oh,
went out, brother. We can't hear you.
when you
you
see
transforming.
what's going on, and now the world is seeing
I don't think you can hear us.
mm-mm.
how
I can't either. Brother Nickel.
the treasury is just
He can't
the
hear
Fed.
us.
You can hear. He's mid conversation. All right. All right. Sister Betty, shalom.
Shalom, family. Shalom.
Sister Betty, oh my goodness, you are such a wonderful voice to hear. How are you, my sister?
Listen, I cannot complain. Normally, I wouldn't even jump on because I'm at this preschool. But the
Yeah.
reason why I jumped on because of the Ruach. When I heard Karis and I heard Michael and I heard Oral, I said, now look at this. And I hear the peace in all three of y'all voices. I just got on to say how amazing the Most High is, how He has His Ruach over Quest to Unite Africa. No matter what may come after what we just went through, no matter what may come, I now have more faith that Yahuwah is going to cover y'all. I have more faith than I did before. And I'm just so amazed and happy. Just feel fulfilled this morning that my three guys that I really have faith in, that they are, united still, no matter what. And I just want to come on and tell you that, you guys, that I really am prayerfully thankful because I know that this United States that we live in, this is a fallen state of wickedness and witchcraft on a higher level than any pastor ever thought about preaching about. Because I don't think they understand. Deuteronomy 28 was actually telling you that you were going to be sent to a place where demons and devils
Low.
reside.
Mm-hmm.
Because listen, all the nations of this world hate us. When I say hate, I mean exactly what I said. Europe, Asia, America, Canada, all of these, they hate us. Why? Because we are the chosen seed of Yah. We are His because of that total hatred that the whole world has for us. Nobody likes us anywhere. We barely liked in Africa. Barely by the skin of our teeth, we gonna slide in. Because the reason why I say that, because whenever land was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we was given land. When they got rid of us, or came and whatever happened with us in the transatlantic slave trade, they took our land. We have a land, but we're not in possession of it. I really believe that they know where our land truly are, and they decide to sell it to us. But all of them that's selling us land, they're gonna pay for it instead of giving us our land, letting us come home freely. They're gonna pay for it. Like I'm saying, what you guys are doing is amazing. I love you guys, and I'm just really thankful this morning to see you on this panel together like this. I really am. Didn't mean to go too long on y'all, but I'm just thankful. Hallelujah and hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And thanks. It's good to hear you, Sister Betty.
When do you plan on going to back to Tanzania, Arthur?
Listen, brother Michael. So I'm opening up another preschool. And it says, the enemy been on top of me. And I know how to open up schools. I've been doing it for 27 years. And now I'm having trouble because the changing table is not beside the sink. It's 5 steps away. Just little stuff like that. But I know what I'm dealing with. So I'm okay with it. So before we left, we was trying to make sure this new preschool was open up and running before I left. So that's the only thing that's holding us back. So I know it's going to be in August, by the will of the Most High. It'll be in August when me and Arthur is able to go to Tanzania.
How long you
I'm
gonna
going
be
to stay 3 weeks.
Okay.
We're going to stay
trying
3
to get
weeks.
roughly around about that same time in August.
Yeah, because when Arthur go back in December, he's not coming back.
I don't blame Arthur.
Yeah.
I don't blame
He's
him.
not
Let me ask you
coming. He's
something.
taking his family.
Did you all go through did you go through the other processes like for immigration and all that stuff?
Brother Michael, I'm not even sure. I'm not going to answer stuff that I did not even take part in.
All righty.
I didn't. I know him and his wife, they're trying to get there. They don't feel like, what y'all feel like for Stephanie was y'all citizens? No.
Yeah. We did it.
Residency.
We got
It's
all
residency.
Yeah, we got everything on the books, but they're always looking for money. Money here, money there. And so just trying to get
Michael, yes.
now.
Money here, money there. But they feel like the paperwork for their residency, they have to go down and take the pictures and all of that. They did that. I haven't did that yet.
Yeah, you take a picture, then you gotta take a body shot.
That's what they gotta do, Michael. They gotta go down there and take a body shot. So I know Arthur do his in August, and then when the wife get down there in December, her and the kids, they'll do it then. Because he's not coming. He shut the gym down. He's selling everything in the gym, shut the gym down. The only thing that next will shut down is the cafe, Oral and Carrie. The cafe will be shut down in December.
I need to make it back there before that because that food was
Please do.
delicious. Oh my goodness, your vegan meal is my goodness, amazing.
Please do.
you, you know,
Please do.
Sister Betty, on Tuesday, I was driving through there, but 60's on the south end of Lake Wales.
It is. It
So
is.
so I was like, oh man, I said that's like 10-15 minutes
Now,
away.
I'm telling you still could have reached out to me. We still could have had lunch. I'm country. I know all the good spots to eat in the country.
Yeah, well, this was like around eight at night, and that's
Well,
and I'm telling you, those folks, it's like Speed Racer trying to make it to I-4.
I know because it's so congested. It's
Yeah.
congested now. It is. It's bad. It's really bad down here. But yeah.
So
But
what kind of gym did
he
Arthur
he
have? I mean, do he
yeah
have now?
he ran a full fitness gym, Michael, with
And listen to me.
meal prep
I don't mean to
full.
cut you off, sister. But me and
Okay.
Karis, when we was there, those brothers down there be jogging and stuff like crazy. That's what I'm saying. If we shutting the gym down, that gym may be because we didn't see too many gyms there.
I didn't see
No.
any gym. You
Right.
saw
Y'all didn't
people
see any?
jogging because Mike, because when I was running in on Sundays, I didn't see nobody running.
Me and Kev, we drove. Well, you was pretty much like downtown. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
we was going out to see Sister Judy, and we just seeing brothers and sisters up there jogging. You know, they was jogging and everything on both sides of the street.
Oh, you know what? It is a time when we were all in the taxi when we saw like a whole bunch of school children running. I do remember that a couple of times actually.
And I think that if he shuts up,
Hmm.
I mean, if he want to look
Yeah, no, you know he is, Michael. That's one of his plans. That's one of his plans because Arthur been a fitness guru for about 5 years now.
okay,
Because he was a runner. He was a runner in school. That's
Oh
what he
yeah, yeah, yeah.
does.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's a trained runner. Yeah, he loves running.
and all he got to
He
do is
does.
start getting brothers and sisters together and form
Yep,
a group. Boom,
yep.
then you got a gym.
Yep.
You already know Michael that he's on that. Arthur intelligent. Now, I beat him for that. He's intelligent.
Wow,
He has a business plan. He has a business plan already ready to go.
I got you. Hmm,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. See, I got to go down there and open up the cafe.
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah,
that idea is going to be really really special, Sister Betty. The cafe,
yeah.
especially the way you have your cafe there. If you could do something similar to what you have now, oh my goodness, that would be
But
amazing.
but I am on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, as long as
I
you do, because
am.
that place
I
looks
am.
so
It's
nice.
amazing.
Oh my
It
goodness,
is.
your cafe! I can't wait. I have to make sure I make it back there at least a couple of times before you leave.
You got to do it.
Yeah,
I wish all y'all could come so we can just have this tight prayer, this tight intercessory prayer, because I just feel it. I do. I know that we're in the land of the wicked, family. We're in the land of
yeah,
the wicked. Ain't nothing here for us, really. It's not.
yeah.
What we can get out of this country and take with us. I think it was Arthur was telling me that tell you Koba posted something about some Chase Bank closing.
what?
Chase,
What?
That's what Yacoba
what?
posted on Facebook. Yeah, yeah,
A brother Karis, we may have an issue.
yeah.
I
That's what Yacoba posted. That's why I was
or,
asking
or
y'all.
maybe certain branches are closing.
Certain
That could be.
branches,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Maybe the
yeah.
okay,
branch.
Certain branches are
yeah,
closing. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But I still don't know about. I don't know, but we deal with Chase too, so I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but certain branches. So, or what to make certain branches close right quick, and I'm like, yeah.
Well, what happens is the reason why some branches close is if they don't have the clientele to support it. Because the way banks make money is they do different loans and CDs and jumbo CDs and things of that nature. And so if nobody's investing, then there's no money coming in. So that branch is now not considered to be a branch that's profitable. So it's no need for them to keep it open. So when you see the like people coming in and going out and just like taking out money, that doesn't make them money. Is their existing clients that's actually making CD, especially like the seniors, because seniors love like those 3 month CDs and things of that nature because they take a large chunk of your money and give you like less than a percentage for your money, and then they make like hundreds of millions of dollars on your money. When those are not coming in, then it's no need for them to keep that branch open, so they just close it.
So, is that a sign of decline in customers or customers?
Oh,
You
big
know,
time. Yes, big time, big time. And then, of course, with the demic thing, it kind of like dissuade people from going to the bank. So that was kind of like a push, in my opinion, to get people to do a lot of online banking to actually cause some of the areas to actually go under. Because if you notice,
okay,
after that, after we came out of that, a lot of branches started closing. Not only Chase, also Bank of America.
yes, Bank of America. Okay, okay. I'm just paying attention to that too, because we bank with Chase also down here.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that.
you're welcome.
Yep. Yeah, these are the sign of things to come because why? They want to keep money inaccessible. They don't want you to have access to that. They know that what's been going on has been that folks have been taking out money in large
Mm-hmm.
deposits like crazy, and they're up and leaving. And honestly, it's really not necessarily our demographic that's been taking out the
Right.
large amounts of money.
Now that's a known fact. We're not the
Yeah.
ones that taking out the money. We still, and that's the scary thing. We're the only ones that's sitting back and watching TV.
And still spending like crazy.
Hmm.
That's crazy. So now, I mean, but this go now you go lead back to sorcery. I mean, what? We see what's happening,
Let
and
me
yet,
tell you, Mike. It's this big posh mall as if sister gosh, if our sister Chantel was there, she would definitely use the word posh when she sees this Mall of Millennia. I'm sure, Karis, you've been there because you go there and that thing is still hustling and bustling, moving like it's no tomorrow. It's like nothing's happening there, and a lot of us are going there spending like crazy.
Oh, Millennia Mall
Yeah,
in down, yeah, off of
in Orlando. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
you know what? Now
Yeah.
I could attribute it attribute it to. It's not saying I'm trying to make excuses for us. Um, we've been fighting for so long, bro. We've been fighting, and when it comes to, I think we just want to rest. We just don't want to hop up. I mean, that's I don't know because it's kind of baffling. It's
Hmm.
baffling. You're seeing what people are doing, getting their money out, and they breaking camp.
Yeah.
They said that more Europeans, Americans, has gotten their passport
Hmm.
than ever before. They're like top notch. They're number one people who went out and got their passport in the last 3 years. The last 3 years, and they're moving. A lot of them move. Some of them moved to Spain, but they was trying to
Hmm.
kick the Americans out because they said when they got there, the prices of the property
Yeah.
went skyrocket. And they was
Hmm.
telling you go back to America because they said they raised the rent and everything.
Hmm.
So it's I just see a domino effect. That's one thing I am
It
recognizing.
is a domino effect, certainly. And to kind of add to what you're saying, Mike, I think I might have said this before, so if I'm repetitious, folks, forgive me. But when I got my passport in 2019, renewed, I put a rush on it, and I got that thing in like about 2 weeks or something like that. It was super fast. And now, I think they say it's about what 5 months to get your passport. And even if you rush it, it's still not going to be that much faster.
I mean, I think it's speaking volumes as to what people are thinking, and they looking at the livelihood of this state. I think that's what people are looking at, and they're making the best call. I mean, if you're on a ship and you got a big hole in the bottom of it, water coming in, well, let me go get my life jacket because I know I can't swim, and let me go ahead and start doing whatever practice I need to do, you know, in order to maintain my life because the boat is sinking. Boom. And so, I mean, you can't blame people and I don't blame uh, white people for doing it. It's called smart. It's called survival.
Hmm.
That's what it's
Well, yes,
called. I'm
brother
sorry.
Michael, yesterday I was watching a YouTube channel, and it was this couple that they're from America that they now live in Tanzania, and they were just giving tips about moving to Tanzania. And one of the things that they said is it's the Gentiles that are moving there in droves, buying
Yep.
up the land.
Yes, they are.
Who you telling?
And then they're going to do the same thing that they did in Spain. They're going to drive the prices up.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, brother Fast Nickel. I think who's man, brother Eric Bethsall. He has property in what's the island? What's the island name again?
Zanzibar.
Zanzibar. Oh man, have y'all seen the property in Zanzibar? Have you all seen that the property?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you talking about Florida? I think that it'll put Florida to shame.
Well, that's the one thing that this couple on YouTube said. They said even if you don't, she said we ought to be going there just to buy land, even if we're not ready to build. Just establish your land now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and the thing is that um you also have to understand you can get land, but
Mm-hmm.
that land is not in perpetuity. There's it's like you are literally having a lease, right? A 30-year, um 50-year, 99, whatever. And they're trying to shorten the amount of time so you can build, you know, a house or a mansion, right? But you can't really seed that down to your children. So, that investment, and we look at land, especially in a topical sense, being here in the United States, right? If we buy land somewhere, well, that land we expect it to be in generations,
Mm-hmm.
and only few black families were able to do that, right? To
And
preserve
it's
that.
only in generation as long as you pay your tax.
Exactly, exactly. But
I was
there,
just about to say that, man. So
yeah,
you don't really own it. Even if you have the land and you pass it down to generation, all it takes is one mistake.
Right.
Because, and
No.
I'll let you continue, brother Caris.
but that's where you have these loopholes because technically they can just the chief can bring up a loophole and be like, all right, I want that back. Well, I thought that it was my land. I thought it was in perpetuity. No, they have the loopholes that's there. That's why, yeah, does it sound attractive? Absolutely. But then when you actually commit and then you didn't read that fine paper that you're really just leasing it, you're buying it, yeah, you quote unquote own it. We quote unquote own our cars until what? Until the bank says we want to take the car back for whatever reason. Well, I'm still making payments on this car. So legally, well, I'm making payments on this house. So legally, it's a different situation because you are in a different country and they play by different rules. And when our people don't understand and thinking that it's still that Western mindset, oh well, no, I bought it, it's mine. No, they look at it as, look, we're we're graciously allowing you to do that, but then we're gonna kick you on out. Build up.
Brother
It,
Karras, one of the things you're doing in Tanzania, at least I think that's what you were doing, isn't it? Talking with the government so that when our people come from here over there, they are able to own the land in perpetuity.
that's what we are working towards to get
Mm-hmm.
that special status so we can have that in perpetuity. And
Right.
and that's where it's not just in Tanzania, but they're also trying to do that in Kenya and things of that nature. And it's one of those things. This is now starting to cross their mind because now see, you have to understand there's a big thing in recognition, right? Recognition of wrongs and things of that nature. So when you're recognizing wrongs, now there's a duty, right, to ensure that those wrongs um become rectified. And so, and even for them to talk about the wrongs that had been done to us, now you can't talk about wrongs and be like, well, it's just wrongs. No, there's a duty to do what? To make whole, to restore, to re to repair. That's the reparations process. They're more on that continent, they're more in the restorative and the reparative side of the house than what you get in the Western culture.
Mm.
But you know what? Sister Betty made a very good point when she came on. She said, you know what? Them giving us land or them selling us land versus giving us our own land back, they are going to have to pay for that at some point. And I
E-
believe that she's right about that.
exactly. But what also is ending up happening? We're also going against a systematic
Yeah, that's been put in place.
process
Hmm.
that, even though yes, they are a sovereign African nation, quote unquote, sovereign, quote unquote, they are still playing by the rules
Of the
of
West, the West.
not just the West, but
Yeah, not just
also
the West. Yeah.
of who also empowers them. And
Yeah, yeah.
right now, they're playing by the rules of the Chinese. Let's
Who?
just get that straight.
Who?
The Tanzanians.
I think it's more so the Arabs.
Look, or you could just say the conglomerate has shifted to the
Well, yeah,
east.
all right, yeah, when they working together. Yeah.
Yeah, the conglomerate has shifted to the east. And so, you see that it was a power decline, right? Because you see the remnants of the West, but you don't have as much of the West in terms of being able to do the business that had once been done. Oh, that business got was ceded to Indians, Chinese, and Arabs.
It's so funny you mentioned that because if you guys recall, because I observe a lot, and as I'm walking around, I'm seeing a lot of like Arabs and Indians owning businesses, just walking around. I
That's
see. I never forget when I saw two Chinese in Tanzania doing surveys. I'm like, what is this? That
Hmm.
was on a Sunday. Two Chinese guys doing surveys
but you know
in an
what?
African nation.
I'm gonna tell you something, and this is from my experience. I went to 3 villages, stayed hours there, and see. But what I think we making a mistake is that we go look for those particular neighborhoods that are kind of building up, and we jump.
Hmm.
We go into that village. I mean, we
Hmm.
go into that particular neighborhood. It's not a village, but your land is in the village. I went in there, man. That land just went back. Boom. All of them just going back. Boom, boom. But it's not desirable if you're looking at it.
Hmm.
Now, one of the village has it started to build up. Within, you got to travel inside the village in order to see what they're doing, which is smart. It seemed like they're trying to keep it localized. Um, that's one thing I liked about it. Now, don't get me wrong, the roads are bad. Yeah, the roads are whew, ridiculous. But like I was telling you a while ago that some of the brothers there in the villages, they see the need, and so they take it upon themselves to straighten out a road themselves. And they be out there doing what they need to do because it's a vessel. Everybody got to get in and get out. And I think once because you can go into a village and talk to the village chief and everything, they will work with you. They will. But we go out because we coming from the west. We look for that particular, like Zanzibar, areas like that, or find somewhere it's something that's kind of built up. Ah, start building. Start your own. Um, start your own world. I mean, that's how I look at it. And we tend to jump, like I said, we tend to jump towards somebody that's already putting money in a particular neighborhood. But trust and believe, you go pay the cost for that particular land too. And
Hmm.
there's going to be a whole lot more stipulations that's going to go with it because everybody wants to be there.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's,
absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know,
You can go into with the city officials, you can get all that stuff, zoned on out, but even they'll tell you, that land in perpetuity is not going to be yours. You only have, built it on up for a generation, right? They can take it whenever, truthfully, whenever they want to take it on back, right? And they can literally kick you to the curb whenever they want to. They all of that is still in their purview, right? So even though you may have a lot of the Europeans going over there, they're going over with risk.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to alleviate through what? Through the embassies and things of that nature. If you notice what Kamala was saying, she said, they're trying to make things easier for Americans, not just black folks, Americans. Because why? Because they understand what footholds they're trying to do in there.
But think about this, brother Karras. When they say Americans, typically they don't really mean us.
No, that
It
don't mean
means
That well,
it
that's
means them.
and
mm,
that was the context of it.
no,
Exactly.
we don't want to bring Israel back now. We do that,
Yeah.
shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the context. That was the context of it. Because why? Because they know that they are trying to move to the continent. It's now a new recolonialization effort
Yep.
by the
Yep.
West, and that's exactly what it is. These folks know they're look. When you know that you're in trouble, it's not the actual words; it's the actual actions. Actions speak louder than words.
You ain't
We
joking.
we tend to try to have very high context, and unfortunately they are low context, which means they won't speak about things, they won't articulate things, but what they will do is they will show you, I'm out. Well, how come nobody said anything? That's not their design, that's not their nature, truthfully speaking. So we're always really communicating past each other because why? Because they do things based off of actions. Because now we had to truly understand actions speak louder than words. Just because one thing may be said does not necessarily mean that that's the intent. So we get caught up because it's like, well, I'm trying to read the situation. Well, they're telling you, and then look, they're telling you that they're not, that they're staying, right? But then they have the Mayflower truck on out there moving, and they're going to lie to you in your face. Oh, we're staying, we're staying. Don't worry about that. We're staying. Okay, I'm glad. I just had to ask the question.
And brother Karras, you saw we were going to a black continent. How many Caucasians was on that flight when we were going to Tanzania? You saw
Hmm.
that?
Yeah,
It was full. It was
it was
like a
full.
typical flight. It was full of white Caucasian folks.
Yeah,
You know what?
absolutely.
But the thing about it is, we don't. And what Orr was saying. I'm telling you, those brothers and sisters know what's going on. They know exactly what's going on, and so they when I went there and going through customs or getting, you got to fill out that card when you come, right? You got to fill in
Yeah.
card
Yeah.
because you remember, yeah, because to get your stamp, the visa.
Exactly.
And so now, mind you, if you are like African descent, this is what the guy was telling me. He told me right when I was there. Now you go pay $100. Everybody else is paying $250, $300.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
I was sitting in line. All right, 300. They go ahead and they pay it. Well, I was
Hmm.
looking at, I heard a black, and I seen it was this. He was, I think he was Nigerian. Listening to his accent, and all right, brother. What did they say? Caribou. That's what he said to him. $100.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
told me,
because I paid $100.
yeah, I know you did. My point of saying it is, they know what's going on, and at the same time, the people that's coming in are coming in a very disrespectful way.
Hmm.
Because now you can have the, what do they call that symbol carrier that was at the, I know I seen it from my bedroom. I know you seen it from yours too. That
Oh,
little what did they call it?
the swastika.
Woo! That thing is up all over and up and all
The
over.
swastika. I didn't remember. I don't remember seeing that. I know I kept seeing the crescent moon is what I kept seeing.
Oh yeah, you
No,
will see that.
no.
But no, you got that swastika. It's up there.
Hmm.
It's up there. It's on a building, and I went down the street. It was on a gate. I mean, just as big and just. I know, like, brother, do y'all know what this mean? And I know they don't know. They do not know, but they know that there's a particular area in Darsalam where it's nothing but Caucasians, but it's a very nice neighborhood
Hmm.
and everything. And you see, they keep to themselves. Now, this is the thing that gets me, and you can't blame them. You can't blame people for being smart. You cannot blame them for being smart. If I was anything other than black, I think I'd do the same thing. You go to a country where you have rich resources and for cheap land, cheap labor, yeah, I would do the same thing. The same thing. That's just me. Why would I go to Italy if I'm from Italy? Where I know stuff is going to be expensive there and things of that nature. There's not a lot of resources. You get your resources from everything when it's all over said and done and boiled down to it comes from Africa. I might well go to the supplier. That's called common sense.
Hmm.
But well, I mean, you can't get like I said, you cannot get mad at the people that's doing that. Now we at the same time we are because they did it in a way where they manipulated and forced us up out of this land. Did not y'all said they came out and departed up his land? Did not y'all say that? Man,
Yes, he did. And but here's my thing, Mike, that really gets me with these folks. They did it over here, okay, and now they're coming back over there and trying to do the same thing. And to me, I find it so frustrating that they're doing that.
that's the reason why they don't want you back over there because they know you know this.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
That's it.
Hey, brother Hot Sauce, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, guys. Yeah, I was listening earlier, but I couldn't hop on. But I think the conversation moved on because I wanted to talk about add my 2 cents into the Fed now bit. But it
Yeah,
sounds like
yeah,
you guys
go
moved
ahead.
on.
No, no, go
Okay.
ahead. This
Yeah. Well.
because and I just want to caveat this because here's the thing: as people are trying to move now, I guess the portability, right, or the transferability of money, right, outside of the Fed now is going to be even harder. So I want to try to caveat that, and I'll swing
Well.
that back
Yeah.
to you.
Well. Yeah. I mean, well, you're breaking the number one rule, man. You trying to move American dollars over to Africa to help black people. That is rule number one. Don't do. So of course that's going to be it's going to be tough, right? And especially with the Fed now because now pretty much money is software, right?
Hmm.
So they can just from my understanding is that well right now Fed now is not going to be currency for everyone, right? But I think this will be the president it will set precedents for everybody to use it where
Yes.
that money will become software where it would just be like okay money you can use your money is only good for this particular region,
Hmm.
right? So if you're from the East Coast you're only allowed to spend money in the East Coast for whatever, right?
Hmm.
So that's even in America, right? So because the thing about it is everybody is about because right because I have the same issue here, right? They want to ask you for the source of funds, Swift code when you're moving money from this country to that country, right? So they're always asking for sources and bank accounts. So the best thing to do in that kind of situation is to move over hard supplies and not so much cash, and then just try to move your money to a European bank in America, like Standard Charter or something like that, because they're a little bit more. Europeans are much more lenient when they're
Hmm.
talking about moving money around because they're just used to that. But when it
Yes.
comes to the U.S., they're really the stickler on that. So you're probably going to have to do like because you're probably going to have to do like a multi-currency kind of thing, and you're going to really kind of have to just focus on shipping machinery over as opposed to just cash because it's
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be right, is going to be tough because at the end of the day, America is extremely, and it has always been this way. America has been extremely oppressive to us on taxpayers, right? We're one of like six countries in the world that no matter where you are, America demands that you still pay taxes,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But brother Hot Sauce, 1 second. What what one thing to remember: the Fed now is a system. It's not a coin or anything yet. It's just a
no.
system.
Well, it's the software. It's software, right? It's the digital dollar software. It's
Right,
software.
but they haven't implemented the digital. Well, we kind of already have a digital. I mean, the dollar's already digital, but there's
Hmm.
not a the USDC coin that the Fed is going to roll out hasn't been rolled out yet.
Right. I know it hasn't been ruled out yet, but I'm saying that what is it? See, what is that? The central, what is that central bank currency, digital currency, central bank CBDC, right? So the
Right, central bank digital
CBDC,
currency.
right. So that will set the precedent for a digital currency for the masses, but the CBDC is not for the masses, right? That's why I say it will set the precedent for it, meaning that this is the test run for how they're going to implement it nationwide.
Hmm. Well, yeah, nationwide, and how they'll be able to control things in a worldwide perspective, in terms of American passport holders having access to funds overseas,
Right,
and that's
right. So
that.
yeah,
Yeah, so and that's where we have to be mindful, because now, if you think about if you think about it, as this week, the BRICS nations, they literally were having talks about gold backed currency.
right, right. What I think is going to be where you're going to have two systems, right? And this is when it gets into the Bible where they're going to turn against the whore, right? The beast will
Hmm.
turn against the whore, right? So this is what we're going. This is what we're going to see now, right? So pretty much because of the Ukraine war, it showed America weakness because
Yes.
America fights two ways. It fights economically through sanctions, and
Hmm.
then the second way it just puts a foot up your butt. Like they'll just come in your door, start blasting, right? So nobody wants the latter with America, right? Nobody wants that. But however, they see that the sanctions were not working against Russia, right? The
Nope.
Ukraine war was supposed to be over because of US dominance in sanctioning, right?
Hmm.
They sanctioned Russia out the wazoo and still it didn't work.
The
Because see,
economy actually grew.
right. So we see two things, right? We see two things. Russia cannot fight and America cannot defeat Russia on sanctions. And so that let other countries know that been sanctioned a lot by America, who America ruined their economy. They're like, oh, okay, this we're done. We're done with the US dollar. So America kind of played themselves in that respect. So now you're seeing people start abandoning the whore. And so what you're going to see is that in the East, you're going to see the East using different currency. You're going to see
Hmm.
more like what Tanzania and India does. I buy using my currency, you buy you using your currency, and we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Right?
Exchange it
That's
from
that's
there.
actually going
Hmm.
to happen. You're not going to because you're not nobody because otherwise you're just trading one dictator for another dictator.
Bingo.
Nobody's going to do that right now. So in the BRICS, they'll use gold because Africa got a lot of it, and
Hmm.
Asians believe in gold, and the Middle Easterns they believe in gold. Right? They
Yes.
always believed in that. Right? So you'll see that, and then in the West you'll probably see more of a digital currency kind of thing. But you will not see America is the last empire, right? I mean, we know that from the statue, right? That we're at the toes now. America was the last empire. After that, it's our turn. So you're never going to see a dominant country like America. That's the last one. It's our turn now. So you're
What
not going to see any.
you know what? I'm gonna ask you all this. I mean, what at least you and Fast Nickel. I'm gonna ask, what is what is hyperfund? Is that digital currency?
Hyperfund.
Yes.
I don't. I think that's probably another crypto thing. I don't really follow crypto. I think it's scam.
Hyper funds, if you're so hyper funds, that's a crypto thing, but
Yeah.
that's something different. I'm actually involved with hyper funds. Michael, are you, brother Michael, are you involved with hyper funds?
Yeah, I'm in both. I got
Okay,
Hyperfine and I got another one.
and hyperverse.
Not Hyperverse. No, I don't have that one.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that offline.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would
But
I
but
would say
that's just a form of crypto though.
yeah, but I would
Yeah, so
So
say
well, you
uh-huh.
know what? We need to talk because I'm trying to figure out how to move money around with it. And
I
that's I'm
I
sorry.
Okay,
Go
would
ahead.
say
you'll have to call me if you don't have my number. Brother Karras does.
All right, I get it from
Yeah.
Karis. Yeah.
well, Michael, I would, brother Michael, I would say this because you're on the continent and you have relationships on the continent. Tanzania has a lot of gold. I would start buying gold from Rwanda because they have gold refineries in Rwanda at the moment, and I would just
Well,
stack up
you
on
said
gold.
gold refinery in Africa.
Yeah, around Rwanda
Yeah,
has it,
the only thing about that is we kind of find out that
and Uganda has it.
it needs to leave the continent. The gold needs to leave the continent.
Yeah,
If you do a
you buy
refine,
it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, you buy it at the refineries, at the Ugandan refineries, because they are recognized internationally. The Rwandan refinery is recognized internationally. You buy it and you put that in Switzerland.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when I tell you this, as we've come to find out,
Yeah.
once raw gold is processed on the continent, especially when it comes to the U.S., you actually are paying. Um, it's actually less. It's less. It's a less. The cost is less as opposed
So
to,
to purchase it, right? Yeah,
well, yeah,
if you purchase like so there's two ways, well, there's three ways to buy gold. Number one, you can buy like the paper. Number two, you can buy the collector items, right? The collector items are the ones that really hold their that
no,
really
no. We're talking about refining, right? Refined versus
yeah,
unrefined.
yeah, yeah. So if you
If it's unrefined, right?
mhm, yeah,
Once it goes into a printing or minting
Mhm.
process
Yeah.
yeah.
in Africa, guess what? It loses its value compared to if it was printed or minted in the United States in some sort of a minting capacity. So that's
No,
where you have to be mindful of those things in terms of, because you could say, well, we can just, do the gold like this, or you can just,
no,
it's
but
good
they
for buying. Yeah, you could buy it. But if you want to be able to, keep a value to there, having that gold transferred on over for it to be refined in the US per se, it actually gives you a higher value
Yeah.
no
on the gold.
because there's I don't know all, but I do know of two that keeps your value and is sold on the international market. There's one place in Rwanda and there's one place in Uganda that is internationally that the refinery is internationally traded at.
Okay. And
Right.
yeah,
So yeah.
and
Hmm.
and I'm gonna say, just personally speaking, based off of what I've seen
Yeah.
on the continent, based off of
Mhm.
my interactions with gold, not just um, in, well, I could say North Africa and the Middle East, anything that is refined on
Mhm.
out there, the cost will always be less. And you just stated it, the cost will always be less. So what does that mean? That means that
No,
even when you're buying,
I didn't state that.
even when you're buying that gold, right, at the local fair or at the local currency, yes, it will cost less. But if you're trying to bring, right, that cost or have some sort of a derivative savings or a derivative, I would say asset or increase, right, that will not give you that increase technically because you're buying it at less in gold, right? That technically it actually impacts you in the negative, comparatively speaking.
I
So
don't I don't I don't understand that when it's sold on an international market and it has all the registries at the international
Because when
market.
you are
And
buying things at the local market, the local currency,
no, I'm not.
even though you had just stated this, even though that local market will be less, right? And
I
so
did
the
not say
cost
that.
would be less. Did we not just establish that when you buy gold in Africa, it costs less?
No, I'm not. I never said that. No, no. What I said there is two. What I said there was two refineries in Rwanda and in Uganda that is internationally certified that sells it at the same price as everybody else that you can buy there. That's what I said.
Okay. Well, those are in Rwanda and those are in Uganda. So obviously there's going to probably be a premium, right? That you would still have to go on over. So you're still going to possibly pay another premium because guess what? You're still going to refine through them, right?
Yeah,
So
of course.
that's fine. Now let's bring this on back to other local markets, local currencies that is outside of Uganda, outside of Rwanda, right? They will be less because why? Because they haven't been processed via, right? You're now saying Uganda and Rwanda, which is fine. I get that. Now, when you're shipping, if you ship that gold over to be able to have it processed
Hmm.
and refined, then that unrefined gold is actually going to have a higher value because of it being processed in a Western nation.
No,
That's where I'm trying to come from.
okay, I understand that, but I think there's a little bit of misunderstanding because the only premium gold, right? So, like for example, if you for first, so if you want to purchase raw gold and then send it, you're better off to send it to one Credit Suisse in Switzerland, or number two, Bain and Company in the UK, right? Because those two are the international standard when it comes to pure Troy ounce gold, right?
Oh,
They are the two.
so so again, yes,
Well,
if
well, well let me.
that becomes it's a refinement outside of the African continent,
Well,
and you get
but
a higher value when you refine outside of the African continent. That was
well,
the main point of this.
Well, my point is that but what my point is whether you buy it from Bain or Credit Suisse or the Rwanda refinery or the one in Uganda, you the one in Uganda is like UAG something like that, right? The price per ounce is going to be the same, right? You can check it on the website if you want. The price is going to be the same. The only time you pay a premium where we're comparing where we're comparing standard refineries is when you're buying like designer pieces like so a 1 troy ounce golden panda or 1 troy ounce of the Australian kangaroo. That's where a premium sets in for gold and silver.
You know what? But I'm looking at it like this, brother. I'm looking at Fast Nickel, looking at Hot Sauce. I'm looking at other educated brothers and sisters. My thing is this: we need to start putting it together for ourselves. Quit looking
i
to
i i, I
and all that.
purchased.
No. I'm saying this. If we talking, we could talk about a digital uh, currency. It's too much education among us that we should not, that we it, is it impossible for us to put something together for us on that particular. I wouldn't necessarily say here. I'm speaking about Africa because we jump from because right now we got to jump. We always have to jump to the U.S. dollar or um, to the
The
pound.
euro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. We always doing it. We need to learn how. We need to get our own African currency that holds weight. It's going to hold weight because, like you said, hot sauce. We up next, and that's it. So we need to start putting that stuff into play right now. If it ain't just sitting around talking about it, start putting things together. There's too much education here in this state You got the UK, you got brothers there, and then you have the brothers on the continent itself. When you start networking, you start talking and trying to put this stuff together, you go find out we could have did this years ago.
Hmm.
But if we're talking like a dominant African currency, the Africa doesn't produce enough yet, right? It got to produce something, right? I mean,
Well,
America.
I look at it like the Indian argument, right? I look at like the Indian argument with rice.
Oh my
You know what I'm
goodness.
saying? Look, India just did what? They just cut. They took out literally 40% of the market share of rice around the world. And
Right.
so, they weren't producing enough for its people because why? You already had contracts of rice being assigned to other nations. It's the same thing that you have in Africa. It's not that they're not producing enough, it's the fact that they have contracts throughout other nations and they're not doing what? They're not having what they need to have on the continent with its own
No,
people.
Africa is not producing enough for its currency to be a global player. When you look at
Oh,
America,
wait, wait, wait.
America,
So let's now also back this on up. Who
I will.
says? Because now
That's
remember
yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
The DRC, the DRC, you had what? The UN was actively smuggling out gold from Africa in dump trucks. Remember that dump truck that tipped over had a big old UN
Yeah, but
investigation?
but
So
but
you
gentlemen,
so we have to really look at it in the purview of, what is the narrative of who's saying that, they're not that Africa doesn't have what it needs to
it
have.
doesn't it doesn't produce on a commercial level. The number one reason why America was the it still is until as today. I don't know about tomorrow, but the reason why America is the predominant economic power is because it had free labor for 400 years to produce to the world, right? America's the number one in four different food categories. America was the number one in steel and glass back in the 60s and 70s. We were the number one producers of sugarcane and cotton during the 1600s. Free slavery. You in order for your currency to mean something, other countries have to be dependent on your trade, and
Well,
that's how America was able
Well,
to
and
dictate.
you
and
basing
so
it
when I go
on
back to the
policies, bro.
example that I just showed you, right, with gold being smuggled out, right, and it's not just gold. This is also a lot of other
Like
resources
diamonds.
that gets smuggled out of Africa.
Mhm.
Wood gets smuggled out, steel gets smuggled out, copper, right? All these other precious
Cobalt.
ores.
I
Exactly.
Yeah,
excuse me,
So
yeah,
you
but
brother.
can't. So you
but
can't.
you're
So
proving my point.
there's a big smuggling operation because why? Now you have free, free basically economy, that doesn't that's not recognized. And if you can't recognize it, then guess what? You can't tax it. You can't control it. And if you can't control your wealth, then guess what? It leaks to other nations. And that's what you
But you're
have.
proving my point. But that's you're proving my point, right? Unless we can go over to Africa and be able to protect and commercially produce where other nations are depending on us, whether it's agriculture, whatever. Whenever we start producing finished goods, not raw material, whenever we produce finished goods, then we can talk about a powerful currency. Before that, you can't, because your currency
All right,
doesn't mean nothing unless people are dependent on you for some type of
all right.
production.
But
Let me,
wait a second. But the people depend on us for everything, because remember, Africa has all the natural resources. So when you say that
Everything.
argument, when you make that argument, we actually have everything there. And it's just, and as Brother Karras
Everything.
says, they're
Yes.
smuggling things out. So we have it
Yes.
there.
We
Right.
do.
I'm not making an argument, gentlemen. I am not
It's
making
not
an
an
argument that
argument
it's not
though.
there. I am saying that we don't produce on a commercial level. So
Yes,
whether
we do. We do produce on a commercial
where
level.
What are
With all the minerals and everything that's being taken out, it's just that they have bad contracts. They have these unilateral contracts where it benefits the Europeans and America. That's the
Absolutely.
problem right there. If
That's
there was
the
a fair,
problem.
if it was a bilateral contract where everybody benefits, then you would see how much resources Africa truly has.
But
you
Look
guess
at
do not
what?
Zimbabwe.
make
Look at
money.
If
You do
Zimbabwe.
not.
They have the
go
most
into the
resources.
Congo, go into the Congo right now and see what our people are doing right now. They're doing the same thing they did under Leopold, being slaughtered for rubber, and they're doing the
Yeah.
same thing. They're being slaughtered for cobalt, titanium, all the different
You do
precious
not
metals
make money
that
from raw
oil is
materials.
talking about. But
You do
but
not
they
make
but
money.
still they have the jump on the process of making or taking our raw material and making goods of it. What if we had the same infrastructure that they have with our own minerals and raw
Well,
materials to do the same
that's what I'm
thing?
telling you.
But this one saying,
That's what I'm saying right now.
so this one saying is this. This what I'm saying. Right now, we're not talking about the world. You talking about we talking about us in Africa. That's
Yes,
Right,
it. We not.
right.
yes,
That's what I'm saying, man. Listen, what I'm saying.
I'm listening. I'm
yes.
definitely listening.
I mean, we're talking about Africa. We're not worried about the world. We're
Right.
not worried about them because even you know for a fact that Esau is the end of the world.
Yes.
Jacob is the
Yes.
beginning. Who?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Jacob is the one who's going to dictate uh what goes where, how it goes.
Absolutely.
Am I wrong?
And
Brother, you're not.
and brother Guard just made an excellent point on this, right? Saudi Arabia, they don't even have to necessarily refine their own oil.
Wow.
They refine enough just for their people
Thank
and
you.
other places around the Arabian Peninsula. But
That's what
what
I'm
they
talking.
do is they control their oil export. They control the oil export market. Matter of fact, they control the oil export cartel that what you have with OPEC plus. This is why with Russia, Russia was basically shielded in its sanctions because of the moves that Saudi Arabia had, because they did not want to hamstring themselves by supporting sanctions on oil, which would then hurt them.
And once
Right.
again, Brother Karras, to kind of add to what you're saying real fast, again, the contracts are structured where they benefit from it, unlike the African contracts.
But they don't sell, they don't only sell unrefined, they sell also refined. And again, I said this, well, I've said it, but I'll say it again. You do not make money on the extraction economy, because that's what you have in Africa. You have an extraction economy where a few people benefit from extracting the raw materials and getting processed before. Like I said before, you have to trade finished goods, and other
And
countries need to
and
be.
and I
Well,
will
I
tell you,
would love
I
to
will
just
tell you
finish. I would
firsthand.
just love to.
I love to tell you firsthand
I would love to
that
finish.
materially what you said, that Saudi Arabia doesn't sell.
Does not only does not only
That is predominantly what Saudi Arabia does. And if you
okay.
listen, what Saudi Arabia does is that they will refine enough for
Mhm.
themselves in the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi
Right.
Arabia sells primarily. And I have this. I've been to Aramco sites. Okay, I know about Saudi Arabia and their oil, so I can clearly and definitively tell you right now that they sell their crude oil unprocessed to the majority of the world. That is the majority of their exports. So now, so now you have to understand that they have a power structure in terms of unprocessed materials being sent worldwide, where when they come through and their stuff goes to the port just like it comes here to the US, just like it goes to the Gulf of Mexico, because Florida is one of those that they do what? They hook the tanker up and then they feed the line, and then the line comes to get refined, and then that end refinement is then that oil, petroleum, or excuse me, diesel or other gas products or other uh, LNG products that then get refined on this continent. But the main price, the main oil, is that unrefined crude.
Uh-huh.
Just so now, with that same analogy, then why cannot the African continent do the same thing? And that's the perspective that we're lacking on this, because, yes, the African continent can control its resources. It can. It can be proven. It doesn't matter. If you don't have an output, you're looking at an output. But the problem is, you still have to have an input for your output to have a full supply chain mechanism. If you don't have the in or the inputs, who cares what your output is? You control the inputs. And if their inputs aren't going to give you what that output should be, then guess what you do? Then you cut off the input and then you do the input and output locally. That is exactly what you saw with Ghana when they said, we're going to stop shipping as much cocoa to these European nations because we're going to make our own chocolate in house.
There you go. That's what they did.
Okay. Anyway, like I said, right. In order to have a strong African economy, they have to produce finished products, like Ghana is doing at the moment in their
All right,
chocolate
then,
industry,
brother, hot sauce. I'm gonna tell you,
right?
this sister
So
Sharon said this. She said everything you're talking about is the reason why Judah has to return to help our brothers and sisters on the continent to build commercial infrastructure. When it's all over, said and done, that
well,
is
I'm
to it.
well, I think that's going to be the four carpenters, in my opinion. I don't think that's going to be like far as infrastructure. I don't know if that's going to be
I
us.
mean, but
I
yet
think
it's still gonna be put up on. It's going to be
yeah.
said that Judah has to return.
Yeah, yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes. Wherever. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying Africa is not. I'm saying I don't know where Israel is. I don't know where Jerusalem is. But yes, wherever that place is, we will return. And you
well,
know,
I mean, when Yah said that they had divided his land up, and so we know it's somewhere on this the continent of Africa. So I mean, however we set up there, we know we own the land
yeah,
where
yeah, wherever it is.
right.
Yeah,
And so
wherever. Yeah,
my point of saying it is, I think we really truly need to start moving our minds to that. We say we are a nation. We are the nation of Israel. This is what we're saying. Now we got to start believing that and working that. And these here talking about, like, I know what Karis is talking about when you got to go to the United States to get the gold refined, and you'll have more value of your gold. I understand that, but we need to start putting it into place mentally. We know who we are. We know what we can do. They shipped us over here and we built this country. We did that.
absolutely right. You're absolutely, and that was my point. That was my point. We built this country. We put this country in a place where it can produce so many goods and services to the rest of the world that it became the preeminent economy, the probably hit in history, probably in history,
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
right? And so now it's our turn. But we need to do the things that work.
yeah, but that's true. But I'm saying this. What? Why do you think it's so important? Not just the United States. Why you think it is important to the world that these people from the United States
Mm-hmm.
not get back to Africa? Why do you think the nation have that?
Because
Oh, they got that desire. We don't need these. We don't need these people to go back to Africa.
Facts. That's facts. That's facts. Because independent black man is the end of every other man. That's facts.
There
Or,
you go.
or let me say it this way: independent Hebrew is the end of everything else as far as rulership.
You got that. That's true. You're right. But it's the I just really want us to start looking and talking in a way. Now, let's just start building our own digital currency. Let us start really truly masterminding infrastructure. Because right now
I
we
agree.
not we you know we may not we're not doing that. We do a we I understand talking is good because eventually talking leads to action. Talking is some type of form of action, but literal physical action.
Well,
And that,
there's action. I just don't think it's unified. Like you guys are doing things. T3 and me are doing things. Stepping Stones is doing things. I'm doing things, but there's no like real congeal. But I think there's action, right? Because you guys are doing things on the continent. I've been doing things on the continent for the past 3 years. T3 and me and Journey with Us and Stepping Stones, they've been doing stuff as well.
you
So I
know what?
think there is action.
You know what? Me and Karis and Oral was talking to this other brother, and his brother said this, and we knew this. He said, "Brother, y'all do know we got a mark on our back. You got one on yours too, hot sauce. Are you talking about doing anything on that continent? T3 and me, they got one too. But you know what? What's the danger about that is we all separated.
Yeah, that's
What?
facts.
That's yeah. Now, what do you think? How do you think you been with your let's just say your organization? How do you think you're going to fare by yourself?
Well, for me, well, because I have, well, anyway, you can, if there's one thing black people know how to do, at least ADOS, let me say, at least African Americans, one thing they know how to do is they know how to succeed on their own because they have always been on their own. There has never been help. There has
Well,
never been help.
that's a model that had been used previously, and now you have to understand that model has to really die because it's not about an independent or it's I can do it on my own. The problem is that that type of thinking has actually created these economic disparities or disparagement amongst ourselves because we don't use a community function. You don't see white folks go around saying, I do everything by myself. No, these white folks have organizations, they have associations. They say, we do things in a collective manner, we do things in a collective environment. Because why? Because we know that we are stronger together than rowing by ourselves.
And we're the
That
That,
hardest.
is that's been our problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
abs-
will we have a
absolutely
measure?
right.
Will we have
Absolutely
a
right.
measure of success? Yeah, we'll have our measure of success, but guess what we don't have? You don't have any type of power. So
But
your
yeah,
success at the
that's
moment
absolutely right.
your success at the moment isn't necessarily a success. What it is actually called is it's called a necessary solution. Because why? Because then you don't have anything to insulate that success by combining that with others to be able to provide, right? Now a community based function that now other folks can now do this, to do that, to do this, to do that, to be able to ensure that success of the community. Because if someone goes starts to fall, a community can help to support. If someone
Well,
start do you get what I'm telling you? That is literally that has been our illusion. You could do it by yourself. No,
no,
you
but see,
can't.
I have to push back a little bit because the thing about it is, first, let me say this. I 100% agree with you. Let me say this. When we talk about building a community, because you're always going to have more power with a group than individual. That is just basic understanding. So I want to say that. Well, I want to agree with you. However, when it comes to what black people have done individually, that is success, and that is also power, because when we
Oh,
say stuff like that, well,
and
let me finish.
go
Please let
ahead.
me
Go
finish.
ahead.
Because when we say stuff like that, when people who are rich, when people who are have made millions of dollars hear that, you're discounting all the hard work and effort they put in, and it makes them not want to help. So instead of that, the probably the better solution is respect what they have done, honor what they have done, and let them know, hey, we the group want to welcome you in, and let us learn from you so we can all be stronger together. Because at the end of the day, two things can be true. Yes, you can have individual power, and yes, you're going to have more power as a group. Those two things don't need to conflict with one another, right? Because I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, saying that we're going to be stronger together. But that doesn't mean I can't go get my own, because you can. People have done it before,
You're
and
trying to say you got two different plays, bro. That's what it sounds like. You
but
said
no,
together, then it's
I mean, can you appreciate what I'm saying though? Can you appreciate what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, bro.
Right? Can you appreciate that? Yes, people can get power on their own, but yes,
Oh no, I'm not
they'll
saying
have more power.
I'm
I'm
not
just
saying
saying, yes, they'll have more power in the community,
I'm not saying
right?
you can't get it on your own. I'm not saying that, bro. I mean, history has shown that. All the
Right.
black
Yeah,
inventors in the United States, man, please, man, bro, it
but
speaks for itself.
those inventors do what? They really don't have anything trickle down into community, so you're not really doing anything and building legacy.
You-
Do you get what I'm
Wait,
telling you?
at the same
That's
time, the inventions were stolen.
bingo, because you don't have any power to control
There
what
you
your
go.
output was. That this is what we have suffered as a community, because it's, well, I'm just going to do this on my own, and I'm not going to come back to the community. You should be like a lot of folks. The key to success is, I need to build this community up. You understand?
Nah,
that
the
was
community
that
needs to be
was
two ways.
no, that was actually what you had, right, in Greenwood. That's what you had in Durham. That's what you had in a lot of our black communities that had been burned down during Red Summer, and those 2-3 year processes, because they understood the key to success within community. They understood how to cycle and matriculate, how that dollar
But
matriculation
no one
work.
disagreeing with that.
And
I
so,
said that you're going to be
but
stronger in the community.
yeah, but
Everybody can agree with that.
however, when we're not practicing it,
Yeah,
the
that's
practice becomes, fundamental. And that is the issue that we all have, that we've learned generationally. So now that we're
Well,
identifying these issues, it's not to say, we're coming up against each other. It's to say, look, we're identifying these issues because these issues have been clear detractors of how we have been able to control. You can have success, but it's always a matter of control of the success, right?
well,
Controlling the
well,
success is a lot different than just saying, hey, I invented something, I created something, I got paid for something. And then, a lot of people lose that because why? Because
but see,
there's really no other help that's been defined,
but I
because
mean,
there's been no organizational processes in place
but
from
that's not
a
true.
community based.
There's black companies that have been existing for 50, 60, 100 years that have been passed down father to son, father to daughter, mother to daughter. There's
and
loads of business.
I guarantee, if you do
There's,
the money, if you follow the money, you follow that money, it's going to lead back to somebody else that's not part of that family. And I guarantee they're going to be the ones who really, truly making the calls on that.
no,
All
I
black money,
Yeah.
promise you. I went to school with these guys. I went to
you
school
may
with
have,
guys
you
who were
may have
third,
went to
fourth,
school
fifth
with them.
generation rich.
Trace,
I've been to
follow,
their homes.
follow the money and then come back and tell me then. Follow the
Well,
money. I
I'm
mean, look
sorry.
at you, brother. You got this brother, a Jamaican, who
Mhm.
invented the traffic light. I mean, you got
I'm
brothers in.
talking about today. I'm talking about families with money today. Not I'm talking about not talking
But
about
you still
back
all right.
then.
All right, let me ask you something. Are they part of any African
Matter
organization?
of fact, you got Jack and Jill. Matter of fact, that's a perfect. Jack and Jill is a perfect example of wealth going from generation to generation to generation. That's a perfect
You
example.
still missing my point. We are a nation, brother. That's what I'm trying
No,
to get you
but
to see.
I'm not
I mean,
disagreeing
you
that we
talking
should
about
work together.
individual. You talking about an individual family. That's what you're talking
Well,
about.
I'm talking group.
We're talking about a nation of what we need to do as a nation.
But I'm
That's
agreeing
the
with you on
whole
that.
thing.
I'm agreeing with you on that.
And then
I'm
it's
agreeing
not
with you.
it's not that we're throwing dirt on individual family who's very much well off. No, we're not doing that. No, but when you
It,
come together, but
mm-hmm.
but when you keep on, I mean, not you personally, but when a person is
Yeah, I
thinking
get your
about
point.
what I'm gonna do on the side, outside of this, no, you really not
Well,
inside.
so here, this is what I'm saying, or this is where I have a little bit of uncomfortability. Is
Mhm.
this we should work together. That's 1,000% right, and we work better together if we're stronger together. We work together. But my point is that when we start saying that you can't do stuff individually, also, that's where I feel a little bit uncomfortable because we history have shown we have, and to get to working together, we need to meet each other somewhere in the middle. We have to meet each other midway because when we talk about community, and I know this is I'm going to say it, and I know this is going to be a little bit controversial, right? When we talk about the community and stuff like that, right? I have to ask the question, not me per se, not me, but friends of mine will ask, well, what do I get from helping in the community? What is the community going to do for me? Because when I look at the family of King, when I look at the family of Malcolm X, the
Mhm.
community didn't do anything for them after those brothers passed on. And
You know,
that's a fair point.
yes, it did. Yes, the community did. Yes, it did. Yes, they did.
Please
I'm,
inform me, educate me, educate me.
I'm gonna tell you what they did. They remembered him. When they go back and look at history, they look at what these brothers did. Oh, he fought for this here, and now people are starting to rise up. Malcolm X was telling the truth. Probably at that particular time they did not know, but as history, and you can look at history. These young kids now that's waking up, realizing who they are, knowing that their history has been tainted, and they finding out the truth. Yes, they are being recognized. They are, bro. You may not
Okay,
see it because
okay.
you look. I mean, some people look for monetarily things. Hey, what can you do for me? I mean, no,
Yeah.
it's not always about what somebody can do for you. It's not always about that, bro. It's what you can do for a
No,
whole
I, I
nation.
I disagree. You have to you
It's
have
not
to
all
give
about money,
people.
bro. If money
No,
was
but
not
hear
all
me
right,
out. Hear
if
me.
money was not a situation, if money was not a situation, what would you do right now? If money was not even in the scenario, what would you be? Where would you be at? What would you be doing?
So my point is, if I'm building a community and I need help, right? I'm building a community and I need help, and I obviously need the elite of our group, the elite of Judah, to come in because I need their resources, I need their talents, I need their experience, I need their education, right?
Mhm.
For me to just be like, hey, we're all Judah, things like that, that's not enough incentive. I have to, as being a wise person, I
No,
have to offer. Well, yes, yes,
that's. I mean,
we
all right.
have to
Also,
offer
I'm gonna
us
say it this way.
incentive.
I'm gonna say it this way then. Um,
Every group offers incentive for the community to stay in the community, right? To not do that is
So you're
just
saying that
not wise.
there's no incentive for us to really do anything in this community because
No,
at
I'm
the
not saying
very because
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
that's
what.
insinuated. It's
No, I
insinuated.
said it very clearly. I said it very clearly. If we are the arbiters of building a community, obviously we need the talented, wealthy. We need their experience and we need their education. We have to be like, why is it beneficial for them to come help us? What can we offer them? Because when we look at the small hat community or the Asian community, right? The community gives to the individual and the individual gives to the community. There's a symbiotic relationship. So for us to get those people on board, We cannot just be like off the strength, hey, we all Israel, come on, right? Because some people haven't been woken up to the level that we've been woken up. Some people aren't going to have the same kind of love for Israel as the people on this panel, right? But at the end of the day, we still need those people. And yes, the Most High is always going to provide. But real talk, right? To get these people on board, it has to be a symbiotic relationship. Even the Most High offers when he said, "If you do, I will do. If you don't, I don't." Even the Most High offers
All right,
incentives.
I'm gonna say this to you. I'm gonna tell you something. One thing about Yah is this: He loves these people. I don't care how ratchet they get. He loves them. So now, Hassel, my point of saying that is this: you have Yah who loves these people, Israel, and we looking for an incentive to help them out. Now, why do I'm saying I'm a worshiper of Yah, and I'm looking for an incentive for my brothers and sisters. Me and Cass was always there in Tanzania. We seen brothers and sisters with limbs cut off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time I look up, Carol's giving somebody some money laying on the street. Every time, and if he ain't have, he said, "Hold on, I got to go to the bank." He would go to the bank. This man didn't give him nothing back for an incentive. I knew what Caris was doing. I knew what he was doing, and truthfully, anybody that does it, they just fulfill scripture. So my
We
point,
meant you're okay. I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm
my
sorry. I'm
point of
listening.
saying it is you're not always going to get something from your actions of dealing with your brothers and sisters. Some things just got to be out of your heart. I mean, I understand we coming from the West and we always thinking, all right, now we got to flip this money. We got to flip this over here. We got to make this money there. But now we on a whole different plateau, bro. We're on a whole different ball game. We're not worrying about the world. That's what got our forefathers in trouble from the beginning. They're looking at the other nations. Y'all said, all you got to do is look at me. You look at me, you worship me, you're going to get everything you need. But
There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Right there. Go ahead.
what's that?
Continue.
What's that?
When the Most High talked to Abraham, when the Most High talked to Jacob, if you do this, then I will do for you. There's incentives to worshiping the Most High. Can we remember? You will be above all nations.
Mm-hmm. Obedience.
Incentives,
All
right?
right, but this
Right.
I'm saying
So but my point is,
all right,
even
bro.
Most High don't just say, do this off the strength of kindness. No, if you obey me, there is incentives. If you disobey me, there is punishments. That's all a part of the covenant, is it not?
It is part of it.
No one comes off, not even the Most High comes off and be like, yo, just do this just because. Not even the Most High does that.
Uh,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because we need them, right? Obey and God, the Most High never said obey and sacrifice just because I said so. It didn't end there.
nah,
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
yeah,
But
that's what I'm looking
yes,
at.
obedience is better than sacrifice. But he never just say just obey me. He never said that he never came to Abraham with that. Just obey me. He never came to Jacob. Just obey me. Am I lying? If I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. But I don't think I'm lying. All I'm saying is that it has to be a two-way street, guys.
I
Because
mean,
we
man,
need
this is what I'm saying, Hassel. The only thing I'm looking at this, you equating our incentives with Yah incentives. He's the Almighty. That's the only
yes.
thing I'm looking at, bro. I mean, now from a man's standpoint, all right, look here. I will give you this here, for you to do this here. That's a man. That's flesh and blood. That dude can die just like I can. Yeah, I can. He deserves that uh worship, honor, respect. Period. He created all things. Our life, the breath that we breathe, is from him. The the land that you are walking on is from him.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't want to take what Yah has instituted and apply it to myself. I mean, I'm not him. I'm not trying to be like him. I mean, from a godly standpoint. But now, so when you come in and you're looking at your brother, so now I'm gonna just say it this way: if you were to come into Africa and you come with your company or your warehouse or whatever, so now you go ask yourself this: how is this going to benefit me? Is that the first thing I'm looking at?
No, no,
Is that what
you're
I'm hearing?
you're taking out of context. I
No,
said in
I'm
order for
asking. I don't think I'm
no,
taking.
no, because first of all, I'm doing this because I'm compelled to do it. I'm not doing it for anyone else. But what I'm saying is I also need people who are richer than me and also smarter than me. And I have to figure out how to get them on board because just by saying because I'm wise enough to say, "Hey, because you're part of the community, I know that's not going to work." That's what I'm saying here. Because I'm a believer and because I follow the commandments as most, just like what Proverbs says, right? If you don't give to the poor, if you don't help the least, if you help the least of me, you have helped me. And if you haven't, then I cannot hear your prayers. So yes, I give charity. I give charity because it says, "He who gives to the least of me is giving unto the Most High." So that's why I give it because faithful that is my faithful servitude to the Most High. So yes, I'm going to give that. 放在门口，谢谢。That's why I'm going to do that because it's part of my faithful and dutiful service to the Most High. But I'm not going to go around and talk to Robert Smith and be like, "Yo, we Israel, homie," and blah 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 blah. No, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not. That's what I'm saying because we need all hands on deck, and some people ain't gonna just do it off the strength that we're all Israel, and that's just the bottom line.
I mean, I'm not worrying about uh individual because I mean you gonna have some because like y'all said he got to weed out Israel anyway. Period. But my point of saying it is this: we at Q2UA are trying our best to bring unity to all of us. And you may have other organizations that's doing the same thing, and then I take my hat off and they have my respect to doing that. But the flesh, man, I'm weary about the flesh now. I'm very weary. I'm very weary about that flesh because it so easily get you entangled in sin.
Hey,
Mhm.
no doubt. Well, that's why I made that point before. When it comes to the wilderness, I said I don't even know if I'm going to make it out of the wilderness. Moses didn't make it out, so I am very self aware of where I'm at. I am very self aware, and I know this is like uncomfortable conversations, but at the end of the day, right, we're all trying to do our part.
Yeah, but but I think the danger is, bro, for me. I mean, if I ran into money, I mean, I talked to Brother Karras about this, and I told him I said something, boom, boom, and he knows. Um, no, I mean, this is just me. I think it's good. It's my responsibility. If there's a brother or sister that need that particular help to do something, I think that's a
Oh, of
it's
course, of
all right.
course.
All right, but I'm saying, but I think the flesh need to take a back seat to the spirit at all
But
times.
why do you feel I'm talking in my flesh?
I
I mean,
understand.
just be
Let me ask you
honest.
something. Hassan.
I'm
Let
not
me ask you
offended.
something. How
I'm not
long
offended.
you been in doing your business?
My companies,
Yes,
2018.
2018, and
Yeah.
it seems like you very successful.
Well, I don't want to. Man,
Are you well off then? Are you well off, brother?
That's not important to this conversation,
All
brother.
right, now I'm just saying. But my household, you're an educated brother, and I can see that. And that's the reason why I say you're well off. My point, because you're gonna make business decisions based on business and logical reasoning. Am I wrong, brother?
And consulting the Most High, and
All
consult.
right,
Please add that. Please
all
add
right.
that. But
I give you
thank you,
that too, brother. I will.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
But my point of saying it is, I don't want my encouragement is we should not let that overshadow our main goal. Because when it's all over said and done, gold, silver, that stuff fleshly. But that spirit, ooh, that's everlasting. That's everlasting. Because in my
Hmm.
mentality is this. If well, let's go back to the flesh. Sister Betty Bent and Arthur, they go eventually set up business in Darcelor. She talked about a restaurant.
Hmm.
I got things in motion. All right, we can do business. I can sell you the spices and everything, and the rice, beans, or whatever. Boom, I can get this in big bulk quantities. I'm doing business with this particular sister and this particular brother, and we moving money within the family. Then
Right.
here come another. Here come you, hot sauce. Hey, you know, so and so, so and so. All right, we got hot sauce. He's in. Now we moving money with another brother. You have another. Here come another brother coming in. You moving money within them. So all we did is built a community. We have built a family, and we're using this our resources to help everyone. I'm not right now. We cannot help the world. We can't. We got to help ourselves first before you can help the world. Do you know
Amen.
the heart takes its nutrients first before it pumps it out to the body?
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Hallelujah.
That's what I'm talking about, bro.
But
Hallelujah.
I mean, but
Absolutely.
see the thing about it is, right, is this, right? Just because I'm talking with reason and wisdom, right, doesn't mean I'm in the flesh. It just means we're here, right? Money, look, correct me if I'm wrong. The Bible said money solves of all things, right?
And money is also the root
So,
of all evils.
yeah,
Mhm.
hey, it has two purposes, right? It depends on
It
how you use
does.
it, right? It
It
depends on how
does.
you use it.
But,
But
but
I'm looking at the comments, and I'm hearing Brother Michael, and everybody saying I'm in the flesh. Which is fine, It's not no problem,
Brother,
no
I don't want
problem.
to say you're in the flesh. I just say I rather.
I'd rather have open and honest conversation, right? I'm not a person easily get offended. I just rather have open and honest conversation, right? Because at the end of the day, right? I mean, I understand. I think different, right? I just think different, and that's fine. That's no problem with that. But I'd rather have open and honest conversation, right? I'm not easily to get offended, right?
Well,
Because I mean, we're going to
and
have two different perspectives.
and what I wanted to say, because I gave you the time, brother Hot Sauce. I look at it like this. If you know the era that we've been in as a people, then you know
Mm,
we have had this mentality thrust upon us by our enemies
yes,
or our oppressors. Because if you truly go back
yes,
historically, in the historical perspective, what made communities like Black Wall Street successful, the only community that's still by per capita in an area that had one of the richest people in the country, in the United States at that time. But what was it? It was the community supporting the community. And why did that happen? It was happening because everybody was bringing something that they had, that they learned, and the money was matriculating within the community for weeks and months at a time. We don't have that. So, no matter how successful one may be, you're not going to be able to really promulgate and insulate your success no matter what.
no
No,
matter what.
And
that is not true.
that's
I,
an
actually,
economic that is an economic principle. Oh, you don't think so? Then
I
ask
know
why
did.
the
so.
U.S.
I know
Then
so.
find out why
Oh
the
my
U.S.
god.
debt is almost $33 trillion.
That has
Because
nothing.
it
That has
does it has everything to do with it. Because why? It's not matriculating the money within the United States, and therefore you have total disparagements between the rich and the poor. Now
so. But
you
you're
now
mixing. You're
you
mixing. I'm sorry. You're mixing. You're mixing
no,
economic
no,
theory.
I'm
Uh,
not. I'm not conflating the issue. I'm not, because we saw that what economic success was in our generation, and now we see what economic suppression is in this generation.
we're
And
seeing
just
it.
because you
Um,
have a group of some that may be economically advantaged, that doesn't necessarily mean that as a group. Because here's the thing: if one of those folks that are economically advantaged, if they have financial issues, or excuse me, criminal issues or things of that nature, okay, and if you don't believe me, you just saw Kevin Spacey walk on his trial.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because
well,
Okay.
I
why?
mean, so
There
but,
is a
okay.
power that's there.
It
There's a real legitimate, not just legal power, but there's also an economic and social power that happens. And
and it's
that is
called
what
white
was,
supremacy.
yes.
I'm sorry, but
All right.
Karis, let me say something right quick, brother.
Yeah, go
Outside,
ahead.
please. Let me
Yeah, please, please.
little that little survey that was done. If you put $1 in the Chinese community, the African American community, the Italian community, and all the different communities, and you watch how long that dollar stay within their community, they don't take their dollar, take a nickel out of their dollar and come spend it in our community. They'll take it in the Chinese community, the Italian community, the every Spanish community except for our community. Our dollar bill means nothing right now in our community. They bring in the weave, but they don't wear the weave. Who make billions of dollars off of us every single year in our own community? They set up all the stores. Those stores, they set them up in our community. They cipher all the resources out of us, and they
Well,
never
that's the
put any back
curses.
in.
That's the curses.
I
That's the curses.
understand the curses. You know, I understand the curses very well. But still, this economic system that Karis is talking about, it is the same thing, a part of the curses. It is still a part of the curses. Because it's as long as we're part of the curses, we can't die and fight our way out of this. So what Brother Michael is saying, we got to do something for ourselves within ourselves. This is
No,
what Question Unite Africa is about. We're trying to
but
build an infrastructure for ourselves. We're about the world later. We're Jacob. We're up next.
but nobody, no one on the panel would. Okay, everyone on the panel agrees with that, right? We are the discussion we're having is how to do that effectively, right? And right now, it's
But
on the
that's what
table that
that's what we're working on, how to do it effectively.
right, right, and so
Carrots and them are working on how to build this effectively. You may not, I mean, not saying anything about you, brother, Hot Sauce, because I respect you very, very much. I do. But only thing I'm saying is just the way I really want to talk about something else
no,
that
no,
you can help us
speak
with.
plain, speak plain, speak plain. It's
But
fine.
but
Speak.
oh, I'm definitely gonna speak plain. You better know that for real. I don't care who it is,
Okay,
president. I
okay.
don't care. That's how I am. I'm definitely listen. What I'm saying is your way of thinking. Nobody on the panel is saying what you're bringing to the table is not true to a certain extent. But all of us, we are on a different level, and that's fine. Like they say, everybody got a what. So you can have your opinion, but we as a collective group on this panel, we're all kind of like in the same room.
I'm sorry, you're borging a bit.
Yeah,
I
you're
can't hear you
breaking up,
clearly.
Sister Betty.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I cannot hear you clearly. Well,
I
all I'm
said that's
saying is
all I
that
gotta say.
No, we didn't hear
well,
you, sister. You had
we
broke
didn't
up.
hear you. Yeah, we didn't hear. That's what we're saying. We didn't hear
Yeah,
you.
the last 10 seconds broke up. So,
Oh, the last 10 seconds of me broke up.
yes,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Polk County, Caris. I'm in the woods. What do you expect?
I know, I
I'm in the
know.
orange grove. I'm riding through the
You know,
orange grove. Okay. So y'all, if
see,
you
that's.
haven't been to Polk County, you don't know I'm literally riding through the orange grove. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I, all I was saying that, brother Hot Sauce, your opinion is valued, and I respect it very much because I can tell, like Michael said, you're an intelligent man. You're an intelligent man, and you probably are a successful man. But right now, your opinion is what it is, and our opinion as a collective group, Question Unite Africa, and the people that follow these channels that we're on, we're just on a different path. I think that we're on a different path. We're on a
I agree
different
with that.
wavelength
I
of
agree with that.
thinking.
We're
Because
different. Yeah.
we may catch up to you or you may catch up to us, but there's no need for us to go so far in it because we're kind of like being redundant here,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
saying the same thing. Karis coming in another way, and then brother Michael coming in. All of us are coming in the same way, but we're just not on that level of thinking that you're on now. It's not where we are as a collective group. Not to say that you're not wrong. You're not wrong on the way you're thinking. It's not a wrong thing, but as a collective group, we're going in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's just different directions, unfortunately.
So can I ask another question while I'm not in the
Sure.
Grove? I'm actually at Walmart. My
Sure.
other my other question was for you, Michael, or and Karis for the panel. What I feel like we need, and I hear Michael, I wish there was a way while we doing all this, it has to be a way for us to come together as a collective group to find out how we gonna move money. Us people that are here that running these businesses, we need a portfolio on, listen, Hebrew Israelites in America, right now, we have this portfolio put together on how you can move money, where you can move money at, because that's not nowhere. I can't go to Edward Jones and say, I need you to help me move this money to Swiss account or that account. I
Mm-hmm.
need a portfolio put together telling me and my son and other people that are on the panel, how do we move money? How do we go and buy property? We know how to buy property in Africa now, legitimately. Me and my son do it. How do we move our money? Where do we put our money at? So that's where I need your intellectual advice on you and oral. That's what I need. I'm quite sure that's what most Americans need that have X amount of dollars that the government is going to be all eyes on as we try to move around and move out of here. Because, like I said before, we are in the land of the demonic and wicked. Stop acting like we got this whole economic thing on the wraps. We do not. Everything that we do, Hebrew, we are under a demonic, spiritual witchcraft, warlock, spiritual battle. We are in a spiritual battle in these demonic lands that we're in. America is a demonic land. I don't care how good you see it. I don't care how rich, excuse me, how rich you have it. I don't care what your portfolio look like. If it's not true, why every time one of one of us, a sleeper, most of the sleepers don't know when they have the money to try to build economically powerhouse for their people because they love Babylon. They're not going to do it. We're struggling with Question Unite Africa because we have nobody who has millions of dollars to help us because they're not going to, because they have joined hands with the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
No, well,
So
if I
we
could
have
say
to have a
something,
portfolio built, brother Hot Sauce, to teach us. You got the capacity, the knowledge to teach and help us as a people how to build that type of portfolio and get our money out of this land without being, persecuted for doing it.
well, I would just sure people fall
Yeah,
there.
hot sauce.
Good
You
night,
went out.
Hostile. You transform. You sound like Prime or something. Like
Well,
you
I'm
saying something.
well. I'm going to say this to address your question, Sister Betty, and that's what we are doing at Quest Unite Africa. We're doing that on a daily basis with Brother Mike, Oral, myself, and our folks that help us in the background.
Yes.
We're okay. Look, I, at the end of the day, this is a nonprofit organization, but the nonprofit does support operations in the continent, and we're
Yes.
actively working on that right now. Again, I wish I had $2 or $3 million, and I would put
Okay.
that to work very quickly on the continent, and you would
Yes.
see things moving very quickly.
Very quickly.
But
So,
we don't have that resource, and again, on the continent, this
but
is
you
what the
do,
Chinese what is what the
you
Chinese do.
do.
The Chinese come through, they come through with cases of money. They come through with
Cases.
cases. And the Chinese say, "Hey, we want to do this, we want to do that." And guess what happens? Those Tanzanians, they pop up and then they get right on it. What we do, we
Yes.
come through, we come through with a business plan. We come through with how we can do this to leverage this and leverage that, what we would like to do to leverage buildings and other things that we can utilize in our portfolio to build on up, have other commercial ventures to revitalize infrastructure because there's a
Yes.
lot of empty buildings. And then they say, okay, that sounds good, and we're not going to help you. Hey, we can bring in this expertise, that expertise, and that's where, look, they have they have wealth, but they don't want to do anything to help themselves and help us with the wealth that they have. Even when we talk to them
Absolutely.
and say, "Hey, we can do this, we can do that, we can bring this, we can bring that." They
But then
and
you can't do business in Africa like that. You can't. That's that is how
and
we do business back home, but not in the
Exactly, and
so
that's the problem that we have there. That is how they do business, or excuse me, that is how we do business, and they do not do business. We can come through with as well of a formulated, thought out business plan as we want, but they don't look at that. They just see, in the case of the example from the Chinese, they just see the
yeah,
case of money, and then they
I've
go
done
from that.
projects. I've done projects. So
Yeah, you're digitizing. But yeah, but that's what we're trying to say. Now, are we getting more functional at Quest Unite Africa? Absolutely. Because we're working within the system to create to create and utilize those resources that we are applying for, that we're requesting. So there's still processes that go on, and I don't go over that in these YouTube channels, but that is why I say, look, please come to our collaboration meetings. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays, so you can understand and get the updates of what we're doing and how we're continuing to move. Because for
am I better
being
now?
Yeah, we could hear you. Because for these last 100 and less than 180 days, we've done things very significantly. We've set ourselves up with nonprofit association partnerships. We're able to now have access to medical equipment that we can ship regularly, and now we're working on getting a warehouse equipment and storage equipment so we can now then receive donations. So these are the things that's in the purview. These are the things that we're lining up. Would things line up quicker? If you have money, absolutely. Yes. Money answereth all things. It does. But
But
at the
can,
same time, I also look at it like this: we have to do things and work things in a manner that's representative of the Most High, because even though money answereth all things, guess what? Not being able to discern or to control those resources in a manner that is productive and efficient, well, then you then have holes in your bucket. And I'm glad that the Most High allows us to see this. It's not that we're stopped or in any manner, But what that does is it gives us the opportunity to introspect and to say, listen, Father, we know that we have problems, but we know that the only way that we can get through this is through you. And this is where we're coming together, because here's the thing. Mike, Oil, and myself, as well as with other folks, this is really the very first project that many people know of, at least that I'm aware of, where this is a community-based project. No matter how anybody cuts it, it's a community-based. We look at any input, anything that somebody has, and we carefully consider it so we can implement that. And we have a lot of personalities also within our organization that we have to deal with also. So we have to come together and be able to wisely and compassionately deal with each other. So, these are the things that we have to do, because yes, folks will say, well, I want to go this direction or I want to go that direction. And therefore, right, folks, the sheep just scatter, right? But we're asking the Most High to shepherd so he can provide to us spiritually the focus and direction that we need to go. And let me tell you, family, it's awesome to see that. And it's awesome to see our people, be on the same page. Oh, yeah, I got this, I got that. Oh, I can do this, I can do. Look, nobody. My philosophy is I don't want anybody to be hamstrung in terms of let's get an idea on the table and run with the idea, because we have brilliant ideas. We have a
So
lot of brilliant ideas that's going on, but
if I
we
can say
have.
something, I just want to say something really quickly, because I just want to say there are a lot of high net worth individuals. I know a few that's worth that make 50 to 60 million dollars a year, that are waking up and that they are they believe that they are the Hebrew Israelites. They walk in the way, and that's one of the reasons why I say that, right, is that we have to learn how to talk to and meet people where they're at. A conversation with someone from around the neighborhood is going to be very different than with a conversation with a person like that, because I know some personally that make a lot of money, that want to be a part of this. But if but we have to be able to meet them where they're at, and we have to you know understand their point of perspective. And again, it goes back to, it has to be a symbiotic relationship, right? Because even the Most High with us have a very symbiotic relationship. It's a relationship, it's a covenant. It's not only master and servant. Yes, there's a master and servant component, but there's also a father and child relationship component as well, right?
Yeah,
There's a relationship there,
yeah,
and we have to be able.
absolutely.
We have to be able to talk and meet with those people there, because you'll be surprised who follows this. You'll be surprised
Well,
that it can drop millions of dollars. You'd be
and
surprised.
so let me just explain this to you, because listen, we do a lot of brainstorming. We got a lot of things that concepts that we put on paper. There's a lot of things that we're doing with reaching out to our brothers and sisters on the continent and in many countries. And again, and I believe you. Up next, absolutely, I absolutely believe you. Um, and for the perspective is, it's always, especially with us and our people, once you build it, right, they will come. It's that
But
field of dreams
they
mentality.
can help you build it, though. That's what I'm saying. They can
Well,
help you build it.
yeah, they can, but I'm going to tell you this also. The way that we're building, we want to make sure that we're building in line with what the Most High has us building. So even though they can help, I'm going to tell you, there are some folks that could bring things to the temple, but of course, Their perspective of the temple may not have been the Most High's perspective. Well, let me try to do this, and let's try and do that. No, the Most High did it for a particular generation in a particular group. Because why? Because we're aligning to his vision. So I get what you're saying, but there's also the aspect that we take into account with Quest to Unite Africa. Because yes, the way that we're building, we're making sure that we are building and how the Most High has led this organization to accomplish his task. That's what and I want people to really be mindful of that, because
Well,
there are
but
certain things I wanted to do initially, and then the
mhm.
Most High had to throttle me back. No, you don't do it like this. You got to do it like that. You
Well, I
can't.
mean, I think that's up to. Well, okay, I'll just say okay to that. I mean, I there's nothing I can really say because everybody is going to have their version of alignment
Exactly.
of the Most
Ex-
High. Everybody's going
and
to have
that
their version.
and that's
So
fine, and that's why we bring that up in prayer, and that's why we do that as a group. It's a community. It is a community thing, and we want to make sure that it's the Most High that that gets the glory and how he does. And trust me, you don't get those. You're not on in there when you get those hits and those punches, when you take them spiritual hits and those punches, and then it's
well,
like,
I mean,
oh, we needed to align, we needed to do that. I
well,
don't tell the folks of, you know the hits and the punches that we get, because the Most High doesn't play when he's telling you how to do things his way. And
well,
yes, we will get corrected on the spot, and it is something that you don't play with. It is
well,
very real.
Sit you down
well.
in
I mean,
30 seconds flat.
well, I mean, I don't know because like that's one of the things. Like everybody has their ministry, right? Hebrew Nation Building has their thing. Teo has his thing. Crest United Africa has their thing, right? So I mean, there's division even amongst that, but whatever. So I mean, so
Well,
when
it's what
when we say
it's
stuff
and
like that,
I would say that it's not a whatever, that's where we have to be mindful in terms of whatever we are doing, the Most High gets the glory.
no,
And that's
absolutely,
where
absolutely.
and
But my point,
that's why, look, when I do things, when we're doing things, we have to be ultra sensitive, because this is the very first time that it's like, look, we're now working in the commercial spaces, but we understand that it's the Most High that gives us that knowledge and that understanding and that wisdom to work with one another. Because we're working with our brothers and sisters, but we have to have the wisdom to do that. Because at the end of the day, this is all a spiritual battle. Everything that we do in Babylon
I
is all spiritual.
I
At the
don't
end of the day,
I disagree with that. It's not a
and
spirit that
and that's
that
and then and that's where and see and that's where
Wait a minute,
a lot of
what do you
folks.
disagree with?
It,
that is a spiritual we're not in Babylon
oh,
because
we are in
we,
flesh.
Wait a minute,
It
wait a
is
minute, wait a minute, Hot Sauce.
it.
You said it's not a
can
spiritual
I
battle.
answer?
Look, Mike, it's fine. Mike, it's fine. We get it. We get it.
I will
Okay.
We
happily answer
we get
this.
it.
I will happily, and we should all
And
know this. The
so,
reason why we're in Babylon is because we broke the covenant. That is clear as day.
okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, hot sauce. And
All right, you're
I'll
welcome.
move to our final comments.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'm gonna sign off, but but honestly, like, do we not know we're in Babylon because we broke the covenant?
Yes, we
Like, we're
know
still
that.
under
We know
judgment.
that. Who
So
don't
our,
know?
our our issue, but our issue is not a spiritual one. Our issue
Oh,
is getting
yes, it
back in alignment with
is.
the Most High.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
it
hey,
is.
listen,
All
family.
right. You guys
Don't
have a
get
good day.
triggered. Don't get
You guys,
triggered, family.
okay? You guys have. I'm
We
gonna
All
keep
right.
myself.
Thank you, brother
Thank
Hot
you.
Sauce. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. No problem.
What the grits just happened?
So
Oh, sorry,
look,
I thought I was mute. Sorry.
so yes, family, and that's where we align differently. Like we had said, look, it's the Most High that brings everything to order. Okay,
You know what?
we don't need to go crazy about stuff. We don't, and that's where we're at in this. That's where we're at in this. Hey, I appreciated his perspective, and we all understood the perspective. But again, we all understand this is a spiritually sensitive matter, like it has always been. And that's the control that Babylon has always had on our people. If you don't have that spiritual sensitivity, then you're going to fall. And we've fallen. And that's been our state. So now, in this spiritual battle, because we are in a spiritual arena, everything is a spiritual
Mm.
argument. From the time we wake up to the time we brush our teeth to the time we jump in the shower to the time we put on our clothes. Because people could say, well, you're brushing your teeth with this, and this because that's doing that. You're putting on clothes that has mixed this and this because it's doing that. Look, we get it, right?
Mm.
But now we have to be mindful to do things differently. And this is where we're trying to be in order within the Most High's order and the Most High's function. I don't want to function outside the Most High's grace. That's not me. I've never done. Matter of fact, the last time I did that, I think I was about 18 years old. And then I realized, no, I need the Most High for everything. Everything.
Mm.
So, so this is where we're at. Look, there are folks that's going to say, I want the Fed now and I want this and I want that because there are a lot of our people that really just want to stay in this operation. As long as I benefit, hey, I'm good. And honestly, it's comfortable. Nobody's denying that. It's comfortable. But there are folks that are saying, okay, well, they are waking on up. But honestly, because of the love of money,
Mm. 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 You
you
gotta do me
know,
for a loop there,
so
bro.
so here's the thing. I'm gonna challenge people to really, this week, just kind of take a look and see what you're seeing. Understand what you're seeing. Realize what you're seeing. Because I have to always challenge myself. Am I saying things that's outside of the Most High's will? Am I saying something that is, being demeaning to our brother or sister? I
Mm.
I I I try my best to ensure that what I'm doing and how I discuss things, I don't want to have that Babylonian mindset of, you know, well, just get it done. Well, we need to get it done because of this. We need to do that because of that. And that's okay. That is what we're learning to do. We're learning to get reprogrammed again
Does not the
in
scripture say
righteousness.
he said, I am holy and you must be holy? Did not y'all say that?
Yeah. We're commanded to walk in holiness and righteousness.
So I
And
mean,
and
yeah.
that's why and so that's why we are literally moving at a higher standard. We have to. That's what we've been entrusted with. And it's
Man.
a hard standard. Nobody really likes that standard. I'm going to tell you, family, there are certain days I'm like, okay, Father, how am I going to get crushed again?
Mm.
And I just have to pray. I just have to say, Father, I give you praise. And then I have to throw up my hands and do the happy dance and say, Father, I thank you, because it's a sacrifice of praise. It's all a sacrifice. It's all a sacrifice.
But I mean,
You either
I just feel that.
sacrifice now or you're gonna sacrifice later. It don't matter. You're gonna either sacrifice now or you're gonna sacrifice later. And that's the crazy thing. And the world is showing you that's what it's setting up.
Mm. Mm. Man, I didn't heard it all. Ain't that about the truth? Very wise brother when it comes down to business. Now I gotta say that he come off as on top of his game. Um, and I mean I can't put the brother down for that. But when it's when you were speaking and you were saying It's a spiritual battle. And he said, no, we this hour. Whoa, wait a minute, hold on. It's not what's not a spiritual battle. What's not, and that's the thing they got my attention. And I
Yeah.
think
So
I
yeah,
think
we'll
we
and we'll
developed
we'll
that
just we'll
point.
discuss that because we'll do that offline. But listen, family, again, we definitely appreciate your support of Quest Unite Africa. It's different, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I was not always patient. And honestly, I understand why the Most High, I think the Most High said, I perfected patience in you, so go forth. Because you can ask my kids. I thought I was patient. I wasn't patient. I didn't have that. I wanted to be patient, but then I truly had to get broken down to understand patience. And I had to understand patience even in what I was dealing with myself. You can't exercise patience unless you have been broken down and the Most High gives you that, because it comes through with empathy and with sympathy, right? Well, we empathize because we understand, because we've been right through there, and I've been through, where everybody's on at. I've been through that challenge. If you've done it, I can give you an example of how I've been there. And I would always ask the Most High, let me just get through life, not being unscathed. No, that's wrong. You're gonna go through life and you're gonna get beat up. You're gonna get broken. You're gonna get battered. You're gonna get shattered. And if you don't go through any of that, then what use are you to the Most High? And so I had to say, "Ooh, Father, please forgive me, because it could be worse." This is the spiritual side of the house that we have to deal with Quest Unite Africa. We are a charity based organization, but we're also faith based, which is still appropriate to the government, because we have to still operate in this. Nobody's taking that away, but we have to operate in wisdom. So with that, I'll wrap this on up. Sister Betty, then Brother Michael, and then we'll shut this thing down. Hallelujah. If you're still on mute, Sister Betty.
Yeah, I'm still on mute. I'm Karis, like you said, it's things that we could talk on the back channel. But like I was saying earlier, everybody's not going to be on the same page, on the same level as we are. And it's not a negative, and it's not a negative thing against their ideal or their ideology or where we're trying to go or what we're trying to do. That's perfectly fine. But when you come on a live with your how you think it should be going, what your ideology is, that's saying something different because you already know what type of group that we are. So when you come and say certain things, it's gonna raise our eyes on how spiritually woke you really are. Not necessarily talking about one person. It could be whoever is out there, whoever is on the panel listening. If you do not believe, that is fine. You don't have to. But if you know that you know where we are as a people in this society right now, all over the world, really, then that's the way you think. That's just the way you think. And you everybody has an opinion, like I said earlier, and everybody has a age. So don't get it twisted thinking that you can come on where we are and change what the Most High has already started placed in us. It's already here. The seed was planted, it's growing, we're watering it. You think you can come and uproot it? You need to start your own channel for your own ideal, your own creativity on what you think is what it is. You shouldn't come on another channel and try to recreate what you think or try to pass it on to the listeners or to the people on the panel, what we already know. We're battling for our life. We're battling for our seed. We're battling for generations to come after us. We the old heads. We what them young people call the old heads. If the old head don't lay something down, a foundation, a foundation for a structure, for a house to be built on, then it cannot stand.
Mm.
See, that idea that certain people have, it's going to fall. That's why we're in the mess that we're in, spiritually, mentally, physically. That's why we are where we are. We understand Deuteronomy. Come on, we understand that. That's why we're where we are. So you need to stay that some people need to start their own platform with their own idea and find people that can follow them and agree with what they say. So you can't do that here because we're already grounded in Yahuwah through the blood, the hanging of Yahushua HaMashiach. We're grounded through the Ruach HaKodesh. That's it.
Hmm.
That's it, family.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Sister Betty. Brother Michael.
Hmm. Well, hmm.
Let them grunts go.
Man, don't get God started. Don't get God started. You trying to get him all heated? I know she listening. Uh, well, man, I wish the best for all of us. I know we've been separated. I know we've been slapped around, um, misused, abused, and we all have that those traits. And when Yah said he's going to gather and heal his people. Now the healing part, that's something that no flesh and blood can do.
Hmm.
I mean, we are a damaged people, and we may not know it because you may cover it up with money or whatever. There's a great deal of you talking about how many you're talking about from 70 CE to this particular day. Well, we can go back further than that, but we can start at 70 CE and bring it up to this particular day. We are a damaged people, and I think we recognized it. And I see what we are trying to do as a people, as to coming together. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're trying to do. And when you start looking at what God said He's going to do for His people, and you working according to His will, it's not an uphill battle with Him. It's an uphill battle with us, that flesh.
Hmm.
And right, that's and we just got to continue to do what we know and what Yah is doing for His people, and we move in that direction. But I would say to everybody out there, it is a spiritual battle. I don't care when you wake up. When there's a wicked spirit working against you, that right there should let you know you got somebody on a wicked side that's working against you, and you trying to draw to a supreme spirit. That's our creator. Everything about us is spiritual. Everything. You may have some ratchet brothers and sisters out there doing any and everything. Yah loves his people. That's key number one. He loves, I mean, you got your drug addicts and everything. You got your alcoholics falling out all over the street. Yah loves them. He knows what has happened to his people.
Hmm.
And I think that's one thing we really need to keep in mind. And on that, Karis, I hand it back to you, brother.
All right. Thank you, Brother Michael. All right, well, family, this concludes our Quest to Unite Africa discussion. I definitely would like to thank everyone that was on the panel. These are the discussions that technically we have internally every single day. I can't strongly state this enough. We are not certified financial planners. We're not certified financial advisors. We do not have any type of or hold any type of financial licenses and things of that nature. However, if you are one of those, please feel free to come on board, donate, volunteer your time, donate your time, donate your knowledge, your skill set. Because look, I wish I could share more ideas with you all in this platform, but I'm not going to because this is YouTube. But you can definitely join us. You can sign up. We're over at quest2uniteafrica.org. We have the banner showing that, and the website quest2uniteafrica.org. Sign up to volunteer because believe it or not, we are making some great strides. We came on out, we got shot out the cannon, and now we're doing things internally just to make sure that our processes are up to par. We are a highly compliance driven organization since we are a nonprofit. So we need to make sure that the things at home are taken care of, first and foremost. But that doesn't mean that we're still knocking things on out. That doesn't mean that we're still moving in Tanzania. And so, with that, family, I definitely appreciate it on this pre Shabbat. And so, yes, exactly, Jotham. Our captivity is turning before our eyes. And these are those discussions that need to happen because it's not here in the US, this is worldwide. Worldwide. So, with that said, this is Covenant Awakenings on behalf of Quest to Unite Africa. On Monday, most time willing, you can join me over at Covenant Awakenings. And with that said, Shalom, Salama, Siemi, Shalom. Peace and blessings, Yasharel.